Hello all, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome to the newest episode of the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast, brought to you on YouTube, on Spotify, on Google and Apple Podcasts. I'm Austin. I'm a knockout, watched a lot of wrestling.
I'm David. I'm a noob, haven't watched nearly as much wrestling, and all hail the Forever Arc. The Forever Arc, wherein, during our fucking randomizer episode, we managed to fucking boo back to this goddamn era like a few months earlier, and now we are here strapped in for what is going to be, fans, I shit you not, the single longest episode of this podcast by far. Longest for watching with Austin and me, and I guarantee by virtue of that, longest for us talking about it.
Yeah, I don't want to make any guarantees about longest talking yet, because we just released an episode that's like 3 hours 11 minutes.
Yes,
I'm aware. The front half is not going to be nearly that long enough to make that, I think, make it a real contender.
We'll find out. I feel like the fact that we are watching a whole lot of Raw for this means we're going to have a whole lot to talk about. And I believe in our abilities, Austin, to be like long-winded and rabbit-holey. All right, those are like our two fucking specialties on this show: is not shutting the fuck up and very much not shutting the fuck up.
All right, if you're so sure. But yes, just like the Doctor's TARDIS keeps bringing him back to London, our TARDIS keeps bringing us back to 2012.
The TARDIS of Noobs and Knockouts. Fucking. I promise you, both of our tiny little screens are bigger on the inside.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that we were able to get the second randomizer to work on the video version this time, because if we didn't, I'm not sure if anyone would believe us when I say it wasn't worked.
Austin's just trying to fucking trap me in 2012. Motherfucker will not let me leave 2012.
Yeah, so tonight we are going to finish our little foray into 2012, the Love Square arc between Kane, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and AJ Lee.
Dude, this shit has been so fucking weird. It's been really weird. I say that about a lot of shit on this show, but like, look, I know I'm beating the dead horse constantly of, like, them doing the whole bitches be crazy thing with AJ, but, like, goddamn, this isn't quite, like, self-parody levels of WWE like we covered last week with the fucking Vince buying out WCW episode where there were, like, 6 matches, each of which clocked in no longer than, like, 2 minutes, and all the rest was really just silly soap opera-y bullshit. Like, there is work on this show. We're about to go to 3 fucking hour Raws, and I know there are some matches on 3-hour Raws. However, like, we're doing this weird fucking angle where the affections of crazy bitch AJ Lee are far greater value to two of the 3 other participants in this story than the actual title they're supposed to be chasing. And this feels very much like what South Park is trying to parody about WWE in this episode about wrestling, because it's literally just like 3 dudes with boners who also just happen to like fighting each other.
I am pretty sure that in the South Park episode where they do they go to WWE Raw, the underlying drama that they are there to see from a WWE show was Cena and Edge fighting over Edge's girlfriend Lita. Actually.
Lita, yep, yeah. It's Cena, Edge, and Lita. Yep.
Was the bit.
That's exactly it. Yep.
So basically, AJ Lee has not been taking her breakup with Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania well, and instead of showing a single shred of empathy for her situation, most of the people on this show are like, LOL, she's acting crazy.
And the writer's room as a whole is like, LOL, she's acting crazy. Because who needs to, like, understand the plight of women, am I right?
Yeah, fuck that.
Am I right, fellas?
Yeah.
Fellas,
So
don't you hate it? Don't you hate it, fellas, when a chick is like in an abusive relationship and then gets messily broken up with and like has emotional baggage about it? Don't you fucking hate that shit?
yeah, why doesn't she just move on? And
Yeah. Why does she need to keep inconvenience you with her womanly feelings?
of course. And
Mm-hmm.
so she is has caught some feels for Mr. C and M and also Punk.
Mr. C.
While also still being hung up on Daniel. And in the middle over here also is she's kind of like, damn, that Kane guy is kind of hot.
Wait, I just realized something. This is like an IRL fuck, marry, kill for AJ, because she
A little
is
bit.
so clearly here to fuck Kane, marry Punk legitimately, and kill Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, that's clearly how this would go here.
They're
If she had to play FMK.
Wait, hold up. Why do I all of a sudden get the terrible feeling that like the writers were inspired to do this after hearing like some of the women's locker room play FMK, and like someone directed that question to AJ Lee with these three dudes, and one of the writers overheard, and they just ran to the writers room like, guys, I have the wildest fucking idea for you.
Well, I don't know if that's how it happened, but I want to believe that's how it happened.
I want to believe that's how it happened. And then I want to believe someone in the writers' room piped up going, even wilder than the goose stepping on frozen Nazi? Yes!
Even wilder than that!
Even fucking... You ain't ever seen nothing like this. Gentlemen, who here has heard of a game called Fuck, Marry, Kill?
Fuck, marry, kill. What's that?
Like my kind of game. I like fucking, I like marrying, and you would not believe the hits I've had put out on some people.
Yeah. Let's see here. I don't... Fuck my secretary, Mary, Linda, kill Nancy Argentino.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
You're all too young to remember that one. Superfly! All right.
Anyway.
So AJ is emotionally conflicted right now. And again, this, as much as I find this fun in a shippy kind of a way, I do have to admit though that it is sad and unfortunate that her having having the feels for multiple men at once is being portrayed as cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Problematique.
Not great.
Anyway.
On the other side of the coin, theoretically, these three men are fighting over the WWE Championship, and I guess that's I think Punk cares the most about that.
Punk definitely cares. Again, we got that fucking shot last time where they had the three-way for the title, and Punk ends up winning it, but like AJ Lee got caught in the crossfire because she had to interfere because of course she did, and like Kane like bridal carries her off into the sunset after the match because she got wounded, but she kind of like looks back at Punk and is all just kind of giving him like I done fucked with you eyes.
Yeah.
And Punk is literally just in the center of the ring looking at his belt, crying a little, and it's just like, yeah, I think he really only gives a shit about the belt here. Like, Punk is the most emotionally detached from the love square. He's mostly just here for the belt, and wouldn't mind if he got to smash the crazy chick that supposedly turns him on. Yuck.
Yeah, Kane is like, I'm a monster, rah rah, but then he is feeling things because something's there that wasn't there before, and he doesn't know how to handle it.
It's funny because like clearly it's like for AJ it's like, you know, marry Punk, fuck Kane, but it's kind of the opposite for those two, where like Kane has kind of gone into like emotional King Kong mode where he's like, I feel tenderness for this creature, and Punk's just like, Yeah, I'd hit that, and then just goes back to being like, oh, but my belt though. Have you seen guys? Have you seen my belt though?
I'm the WWE champion. I'd like to remind you.
I would like to remind everybody, I am in fact the WWE champion.
Yeah, and of course, Bryan is playing the world's greatest game of projection, I think, where he is like, I am disaffected by AJ's wants and desires. Unlike these fools who are distracted by her, and when of course he is probably he cares the most that AJ is jumping around her affections.
Literally every time AJ shows up in his vicinity, he just kind of like stops, turns, and will not stop looking at her until she leaves again. Like, this man is obsessed. It is so funny how he has just slid down. That I think is unironically my favorite part of this, and the part of this that we meme on that feels the most intentional from the writers, of like Daniel Bryan just projecting his own insecurities about losing AJ, like, directly the fuck onto her. He's just trying to be like, yeah, it's fine, guys, it's fine. I've moved on. I
swear.
Hey, Daniel Bryan, what do you think of the fucking, I don't know, where's he from? In Pennsylvania?
He's from Washington.
Oh, fucking, what's the Washington team? I don't know. The
Seahawks.
Seahawks. Yeah, hey, Danielson, what do you think of that Seahawks game last night? I moved on. But they won. But I moved on.
I just want to let you know that I've moved on.
No. I get what you're saying, but like, guys, I've moved on. Yeah, that's literally his whole character at this point, and it's great. Like, I love Daniel Bryan at his most, like, purposefully obnoxious as a character performer. Like, I love it when he's a little more virtuous and a little more badass and a little more like the haggard, war-torn veteran of the industry. But goddamn, petty asshole Daniel Bryan is such an obnoxious piece of shit that you just love to hate. Like, he's so good at just being despicable and unlikable, deeply viscerally unlikable on the fucking spot. And this has not only one of the best showcases of that from him, but is also like one of the funniest, like, see how his karma just gets enacted on him constantly for his own bullshit. Like, just great cathartic reprieve moments for the audience of just watching him constantly be like, I'm fine, guys, I'm totally fucking fine, this doesn't hurt me at all. And then how he's totally going back in his locker room, like, sobbing, like, AJ,
yeah, it's like I'm getting a lot of feelings of, like, looking back on stuff I haven't watched in a decade now, and I'll be happy to go deeper into that as we close out the arc in the back half. But I want to say that I think the thing that sticks out the most to me is being reminded why Daniel Bryan was the first heel to really work me when I first got into wrestling. Like, I'll be open and honest that I, like, hated Daniel Bryan for his heel character until he tag teamed with Kane and did anger management and all that crap.
Yes.
At this point in time,
ironically enough, the thing that made me fall in love with Daniel Bryan.
Mm-hmm. So, like, this was my introduction to Daniel Bryan as a character, and I was like, this motherfucker.
Oh, hell no.
And, like,
Daniel Bryan comes on screen, and Austin's like, tell me I did not just see
like,
that.
God damn it.
Not this motherfucker again. Oh, God.
Yeah. No, so I'm getting to relive what I hated about him so much as a character back when I was even at 16, when I was but a noob to wrestling and less jaded to it all. But yeah, Daniel Bryan is amazing and a highlight of this entire period of time in WWE.
Absolutely. He's a piece of shit, but you gotta love what a piece of shit he is.
Absolutely. So tonight we are kind of wrapping up the story arc here. Basically, I'll go ahead and give you the dates of where we're going. The June 18th, 2012 episode of Raw, though we are not watching anything from that episode. Again, I mentioned this last time, but I have in my planning of these arcs to kind of like get these weeks and weeks of content cut down to a couple of hours for us to watch. I've taken advantage of the fact that most episodes of SmackDown have big, lengthy, Raw recaps. We can attest to this when we watched in Two Random, Two Iser.
Yeah, and fucking for that matter, like when we watched when we were here like last time when we were here, fucking for the I mean I guess they're SmackDown recap. Well, no, wait, they're running Raw recaps on SmackDown in 2005.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. They have been. I'm getting all the deets on the John Cena storyline of 2005.
Even if you watch SmackDown, you can't escape the fucking Raw recaps.
No, but they've been very helpful, as then I can skip weeks that I think are like tier 2 in terms of importance to the story. Good beats to hit, but like, do we need to devote 15 minutes of time to get the full thing? No, we'll just watch the recap video from SmackDown.
Absolutely.
So with that, the June 18th, 2012 episode of Raw, the June 22nd, 2012 episode of Raw, the June 25th, 2012 episode of Raw, the June 29th, 2012 episode of SmackDown, the July 2nd, 2012 episode of Raw, the July 3rd, 2012 episode of SmackDown. This was a special live edition of SmackDown to tie into the 4th of July. And it was a special Great American Bash themed SmackDown. I honestly completely forgot that they brought back the Great American Bash theming for an episode of SmackDown.
That's so dumb. I love it.
Mm-hmm. So that was a special episode of SmackDown that aired live on Tuesdays. The July 9th, 2012 episode of Raw, the July 13th episode of SmackDown, and then the July Money in the Bank 2012, which is July 15th. And the first 2 episodes in this arc, we stopped at the pay-per-view, but the story extends a couple weeks past that. And so we're going to go ahead and wrap up post Money in the Bank a little bit. The July 16th, 2012 episode of Raw, the July 20th, 2012 episode of SmackDown, and finally, the July 23rd, 2012 episode of Raw, which is well known for being not only the 1000th episode of Monday Night Raw, but also the episode where Raw officially transitioned into a 3-hour program.
3-hour Raws.
A decision that was obviously well-liked by all of the fans.
Hey, it's fucking apparently well-liked enough that goddamn 10 years later, that concept's still going strong.
Well, it's more like it's well-liked by advertisers and NBC Universal. USA Network loves getting all 3 hours of primetime on Monday nights already covered.
God damn. Sons of bitches. It's always the fucking advertisers, man.
Yeah. God damn. If it was Triple H has openly said, like, if I could, I'd make it 2 hours again. But he doesn't have that power.
Even our great restoring the Renaissance king cannot save us from the demonic power of 3-hour Raws. Truly, they're of the devil.
There is unfortunately too much money to be lost to cut an hour of Raw.
Fucking hell. God damn. Is it like Vince, like, again, of the devil, like, engineered this dark magic in such a way that it simply could not be undone without kind of being the company's undoing a little bit. Like, he's like, even when I'm gone, if I die or if any of my many scandals get unveiled for some reason, my mark will be indelible.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking anyway.
Yeah. So that is where we're all headed tonight. If you would like to watch the I will say the AJ Lee specific, not to spoil too much about what actually happens, but not necessarily. But we've been talking about it as the love square, but not necessarily all four people are involved in every single bit of this storyline going forward for the rest of the way. So but AJ Lee is the the focus point of these segments that we're talking about.
It's AJ's planet, and we're all just stuck in orbit.
Mm-hmm. This is ultimately AJ Lee's story, I think.
Absolutely. Oh, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. Which is why it is, of course, great that the WWE Championship was wrapped up in this for 2 months.
Yeah, a championship in which she could not compete, just as a reminder.
Of course, I'm sure. Meanwhile, John Cena was main eventing pay-per-views fighting John fucking Laurinaitis or something.
Twice. Motherfucking twice. Wasn't it 2 headliners against Laurinaitis?
It was. And if you would like to keep score as well, Money in the Bank in 2012 was main evented by the Raw Money in the Bank ladder match, which was won by, you guessed it, John Cena.
Another thing we can never escape, John motherfucking Cena showing up on Raw and taking over the whole goddamn program.
Yeah. CM Punk had a point when he turned heel, and he, ironically, then started getting main events as the WWE champion when he turned heel.
Me holding up signs in the freeway, CM Punk was right.
Yeah, pretty much.
He may not be so right. Below that, it's like an asterisk. He may not be so right anymore these days, but there was a point where he was right. I swear to God.
He was right in small print in 2012.
True. Anyway.
As I was saying, if you'd like to follow along with us here, with the AJ-centric segments on all those episodes of Raw and SmackDown, you can do so from Peacock, NBC Universal streaming service, and that's where WWE puts all their streaming content these days. So you can go check that out if you would like. In the meantime, we will be back to talk about the final stretch of the love square for AJ's heart.
Goddamn. All right, baby, let's do it.
And we are back. We have just finished SmackDown from June 22nd, 2012, all the way to Raw on July 23rd, 2012, as we wrap it up here on this Love Square arc.
Man, that was a lot. That was like I say that a lot on this show. This was a lot in a different way than normal. It was flatly just a lot of different shit, all vaguely connected to this plot. It kind of like zipped back and forth in all of these weird fucking ways, and it was like, man, there's just so much that's going into this, and I'll get to my final kind of judgment of that at the end of this, but like, wow, it's just a lot to keep track of, just flatly. Oh boy.
Yeah, there's something to be said for reevaluating media that you're nostalgic for.
Uh-huh.
And you come to realize that it wasn't quite as good as you remember it.
Really?
So I gotta say, I had fun tonight and in this arc, but I remember this a lot more fondly back in 2012.
Really? Austin over here, like, I'm gonna be a staunch defender of this all the way through. I will show you, David, why this was the best the 2012 WWE had to offer.
Listen, the plot structure is a little wonky.
Really?
Plot points just kind of happen, and then they just kind of jump in completely different directions.
Yeah, and some shit just kind of gets dropped with no further payoff.
That is a lot of tonight, was watching different love interests slowly drop out of the story.
One of them was barely in the story to begin with, but
I have things to say about that when we get to that part.
Well, there are two of these different love interests that were barely in it in two very different ways.
So like, I'm still willing to say I had fun, and
yes,
it was an enjoyable time. I still probably have a higher than average opinion of this storyline. But
and I feel like watching it with you, seeing it through your eyes, definitely made it more enjoyable for me. However, that does not change my approximation that the central conceit of all of this is yuck, and B, that, man, this plot is kind of messy and a little bit disjointed.
Yeah, I am willing to acknowledge that. I will chalk up the first thing to me, that being something I think that 2012 me just doesn't notice anymore.
Well, yeah.
And didn't notice at the time, and now I'm looking back on it 10 years older and also trying to look at it with an analytical eye, and I'm like, the central conceit of this is kind of fucked up.
Oh no, if I were watching this 10 years ago when I was 14, I'd just be like, man, that AJ is crazy.
Also, I just think I forgot how much of this arc was framed around the idea that she's crazy. Like I remember the love square, and I remember that she gets called crazy, and it becomes a whole thing. I didn't remember how much of those overlapped in time, and I think.
Oh yeah.
And I was
the further on this went, the harder they leaned into it. I was looking up AJ the other day, and man, it kind of hurts to find out that she is actually IRL bipolar.
Yeah,
and
she wrote an entire book that was pretty much about her experiences growing up with bipolar disorder. I've read it; it's very good. And I have had a few thoughts of, thinking on that now. This is awkward.
Yeah, and kind of unfortunate that, they're doing the tropified, version of bipolar where it's just like, oh, she's crazy.
Yeah, and on the story being disjointed, another thing that I think part of this is because I think I talked a little bit about it in the NXT arc, is how it feels different watching everything back to back like this.
Oh, this is fair.
Than it did when I was watching it live week to week. But this arc, when I was younger, felt so much longer. It felt like this took the whole summer. And yeah, we watched it in chunks, but it still was like a month and a half of what was of basically that revolved around this specifically.
Mm-hmm. And then some lead up.
Yeah, so it's like this felt longer this felt more like ever present when I was younger. And
that's fair. I mean, 6 weeks to run a story like this is a long time, so fair enough.
Let's just get into it now. We've touched some over its thoughts. So we kind of start with the June 22nd, 2012 SmackDown, except all we were there for was a recap of what happened on Raw.
Yeah, a recap that I like to call when AJ met Kane.
Yeah, so most of the recap is just of the storyline in a general sense. But what I was here for was on Raw, on the June 18th Raw, there was a Sheamus and CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan and Kane match. And during the match, AJ came dressed out as Kane, mask and all.
In a full-ass Kane mask. And yeah, and this whole recap seems to understand that this feud is very much not about the belt and very much about AJ.
Yeah. Like I said, the story has quickly morphed into being about AJ.
Yeah, unless you ask Punk, then it's still very much about the belt.
Punk over here yes, the belt, the most important thing.
Yes, obviously. And he's like, right, guys? And the entire, crowd and both Kane and Daniel Bryan are just staring dead-faced at AJ, and he's like, right, guys?
Right, guys? Now, also on the June 22nd SmackDown, though we did not watch it, Kane had another match with Bryan. AJ shenaniganed again.
Shenanigans did occur.
Right. So the June 25th episode of Raw. Now we're getting into the real meat of stuff.
Yep.
So we start the show in a cold open, by the way. They cold open Raw with this. They re-show the recap video they showed on SmackDown. And then we go to AJ backstage. She is talking to off screen, but is ostensibly she's talking to Kane, Punk, and Bryan.
Yes. And off the bat, I feel validated because she's literally doing fuck, marry, kill with the three of them. She's like, you know, Daniel, you're a piece of shit. You broke my heart. Fuck you. Kane, I want you to ram right into me and make me have your babies.
To quote 9 Inch Nails, I want to fuck you like an animal.
True. Yes, literally. Pretty much what she says. And she's like, Punk, man, I just want to wifey you the fuck up. Yeah. She's literally playing fuck, marry, kill the exact way I was putting it in the front half. That's awesome.
Yeah. So what it almost reads like breakup speeches though with all of them, because she says to Daniel, she says for Daniel, she still has feelings for him, but you know, to grow as people, they need to grow apart. And then Kane, she talks about how she loses her inhibition and wants to get wild, but he is a monster. And I know I can hear crazy chick chants. Great. And then AJ calls Punk her soulmate, but she knows that Punk doesn't seem to be like all in feelings wise here.
Yeah.
And then the camera pans and it shows that the whole time AJ was talking alone into her mirror.
Oh, she was rehearsing this breakup speech. And because that's what it ended up being, is like a breakup speech. He's like, really, I just need to break up with all three of you. Like, none of this is working.
For a brief moment, AJ realizes that actually she's better off dating none of them.
And all of them kind of suck in their own way. And then that turns out, and then that's the fucking cold open to Raw. This is AJ's world, and we're all just living in it.
Absolutely. So we then cut to a bit later in the show where Vicky Guerrero, who is so leading up to Raw 1000, as again that is the arc. This arc ends on Raw 1000, but in the lead up to that, they were celebrating the history of Raw and 1,000 episodes because John Laurinaitis was fired. There's no current person in charge of Raw, so every week leading up to Raw 1000, they would have an old GM of Raw be the special GM for the night.
This is a very stable organization and show. No, nothing to be concerned about here.
Of course. So tonight, it's
totally a viable way to run your media company.
Right. You know, different boss every week. It's all good.
Absolutely.
No problems there. But yeah, so Vicky Guerrero is the special GM for the night, and to kick off the show, we're doing a 3-way elimination match.
Very hot, very steamy 3-way between Punk, Kane, and Danielson. Yes.
Yes, Daniel Bryan, Kane, and CM Punk are the first match of the show. And
I wrote just thought of that one off the top of my head. No other reason for putting it together.
Don't know how she came up with that one. How does Vicky come up with her brilliant ideas?
Yep, pretty much.
And then this, I can't even believe I have to say this, because that Jerry Lawler made a smart point.
I know.
And Cole didn't. Because Cole tries to talk about what they saw in the cold open. He's like, look at AJ, crazy chick, am I right? She's talking to herself. And Jerry Lawler's like, I don't know. It looked like she was practicing speeches in the mirror to me.
You're actually intelligent? Since when? How long have you been like this? Explain to me.
Could you have been like this the whole time?
The whole time? Was that so hard? You little fucking bastard. I'm so happy you gave me this effigy.
Yes, and then during the match, during the injuries, I think is Michael Cole brings up that there is a Twitter poll out there tonight for
Yes!
WWE Raw.
The Twitter poll!
Who should AJ be with? And there are 4 options. Obviously, Punk, Kane, and Bryan. And the 4th option is all of them.
Hashtag AJ All! We got the poly rep, baby! Based!
Yeah. And then
naturally, I'm voting AJ All.
Yeah, and then even Lawler making his second good point of the same segment.
I know.
He's like, I don't know, maybe there should be a none of the above option.
AJ, none of the above. Why? Why did you just make a second good point, you piece of shit?
Yeah, it's wild. So Punk, Bryan, and Kane have a pretty good match, as you'd probably expect.
While the match is going on, Michael Cole remarks that he implies that that due to this specific storyline and all the chatter that it's created, Raw was top trending on Twitter. Incidentally, there was also a salmonella outbreak going on at the same time.
It probably was trending on Twitter, though. They do that a lot.
Oh no, I have no doubt.
WWE got in very quickly on the guy, get our fans a talking on social media. Get the trending. Get the trends going.
If we get trends, we get money. It's just simple math.
Yeah. It's why it was funny for so long that WWE would be like, we have more Twitter followers than every single NFL team. Waka waka, shut the fuck up.
Jesus, Vince still not salty about the XFL, not at all.
Or whatever. Now they do these kind of like really bad, these like statistics that aren't that impressive all the time to hype that up. And speaking of social media, I can't wait until later to talk about the other thing that got brought up.
Yes.
Very excited.
All right, AJ is watching this whole thing backstage at a 90-degree angle because of course
4 out of 10, not enough cheating out to the camera.
Literally, this is a 90-degree angle. The TV is flush against one wall. AJ is flush against the adjacent wall, and her head is just turned all the way looking at it.
It's kind of like the worst of both worlds in that you're not cheating out enough to be fully seen by the camera, but you're also not watching the TV at a natural angle.
Yeah. But yeah, she's enjoying watching all 3 of her boyfriends have a very cute 3-way while they all wear matchy colors. It's very adorable.
Yeah. So, it goes, Punk and Bryan, team up to beat up Kane a lot and they get one-on-one together, but then Kane shows back in and he's the strongest boy here. We get to the end of the match. Kane sets up for a choke slam on Punk, but then out comes AJ skipping on down the ramp yet again. She's wearing the same Kane shirt she was wearing before, but she does not have the mask. Mask was a one-time dealio.
Kane's like, all right, you can borrow my shit from my archive, but only once. I can only let that shit out of once in a while, or else it just fucking crumbles. All right, too much exposure to to air, and it just that shit. You know how much I've sweat into that shit. All right, it'll just fall apart.
No more gimmick infringement.
True. Oh, we'll get to. I'll have things to say about gimmick infringement later.
So Kane. So this distracts Kane, of course, and Punk gets Kane in the GTS. He pins Kane. And then Bryan immediately kicks Punk in the head and pins him for the win.
Yeah. Oh, DB got the win in this non-title match. Oh, shit. The stakes are
sure hope that I bet this means that Bryan will be in line for a future title opportunity.
A very unique opportunity, title opportunity. Yes, totally. Oh man, wrong show there for a second.
I don't get as mad about it as many people as some people do, but WWE definitely goes to the well too often of pin the champion to get a match for the title with the champion.
It's a mite repetitive, yeah. And then the fucking champion gets a rematch. So essentially, in order to become the new champion, you have to beat the champ 3 fucking times to actually
to hold the belt. Yeah.
What a load. What a fucking load. Like, I would say it's a measure to, like, keep belt turnovers, like, make them so that they can happen on regular TV without them feeling too cheap. But this is WWE. Come on now.
Mm-hmm. It's not. Don't love it that much. Then we cut to later in the show. Backstage, AJ is talking to Kane. She is like, things have been crazy right now, but she's glad he's here. And Kane is like, I'm not one with my feelings.
I don't do feelings.
But you make me feel things I didn't know was possible.
Not since Katie Vick, anyway.
And AJ's like, great, that's great. And then Kane's like, no, that's not great.
That's not great.
I'm not.
You know what happened the last time I felt special things for a woman?
She died. And
it was a whole
Triple
thing.
Triple H pretended to fuck her corpse.
You really don't want to get in on this action.
No, you don't. But he says he's not boyfriend material and he doesn't do relationships.
Okay, no. He goes, I'm not exactly boyfriend material. And AJ goes, that's okay, Kane. I just want to fuck you anyway.
She's like, well, our relationship is a little unconventional. It's fine.
Yeah, we got more like a friend with Benny's thing going on here. Like,
and then Kane hits him with the I'm a monster. I have terrible scars. I
wear a mask.
I get off on the pain of others. And even I find you a little mentally unstable. Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, and Kane's like, you can't break up with me. I'm breaking up with you.
I'm breaking up with you.
And of course, this gets AJ crazy laughing because that's her character.
Yeah.
That's
what I wrote was AJ starts crying, then laughing, then cry laughing.
Yeah, we cut back to the Twitter poll, and the WWE universe has voted overwhelmingly for her to get together with Punk, and
it goes 51% Punk, 27% Kane, 8% Bryan, and 14%
hashtag AJ All. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, so that went about how the Twitter poll went about how I expected.
And CM Punk and AJ Lee looked at that Twitter poll and they're like, well, shit, Twitter's too powerful. I guess we have to do this now. IRL.
God damn it.
Yes,
we gotta. And then CM Punk and Daniel Bryan is announced for Money in the Bank as a result of the match earlier in the show.
Yeah.
We cut backstage. CM Punk is backstage talking on the phone or whatever.
Yep.
And then AJ does the Guess Who thing with him.
And Punk responds with King Kong Bundy.
And so AJ, who is in a robe, which I will explain in a minute, she wants to make it up with Punk, and she said that for what happened tonight, and to do so, she will be dedicating her match tonight in the Divas Summertime Beach Battle Royal.
Yeah, okay. She said that, and I just go, what?
Yeah, it's a battle royal where they all dress in beachwear. It's what?
I noticed. We'll get there.
Yeah, so Punk, he's like, after she says that, he's like, yeah, listen, I need to talk to you about it. We need to talk about our relationship here. And he's like, yeah, great. That's yes, exactly. We're going to take it to the next level. And Punk's like, no, hold on a minute. And she leaves.
There are no levels to this.
Punk very clearly.
Bold of you to assume we were on a level to begin with.
Yeah, Punk very obviously does not want to do that.
He's not what it means. I really regret saying I did crazy chicks.
He's realizing this was a mistake.
I appreciate Punk learning the error of his ways and like that he's like, oh wait, crazy chicks come with baggage. Oh wait.
Damn it.
And
so we skipped the Divas Summertime Battle Royal because I didn't care. Well, here's the thing. I felt like David would want to see the intro to the match. And so, but first I would like to point out, I pointed this out to David, is that one of the women in the match is Maxine, who is the future Katrina on Lucha Underground.
Yeah, ain't that just something?
But what I really wanted David to watch was all the divas are in the ring. And Vicky comes out. And she's like, the era of people power is dead. Long live Vicky power. And she's in a robe. And she walks into the ring. And she sexily undresses to get down into her beachwear.
Which is a fucking one piece with cougar print. Mommy!
She was working it out there.
Oh my God. I take back every reservation I had. This is the greatest thing that WWE has ever created. That was amazing.
We will get to the results of that match when we watch the recap of it on SmackDown.
Yeah. Oh God. What was this fucking in response to? Oh, wait, did we went to a new episode after this, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What's the theme song? How does it generally go? Because I think this is a joke about the theme. Okay.
Do you know the enemy? You know the enemy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Right
oh, the misery. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Wait, wrong theme song.
Hey. All right. So we get to SmackDown on June 29, 2012. AJ skips on out to open the show with a match. Holy fuck, what is happening? We're opening with a Divas match.
We're opening with a match, period, not some bullshit comedy cold open.
Yeah, but it is revealed that AJ won the Divas Beach Battle Royal by
also, apparently you don't gotta throw someone over the top rope in a Divas Battle Royal, which, fuck you.
Nah, in the Divas era, they were like, yeah, these women can't go over the top rope or something. I don't know. Just throw them out of the ring and they're out. That's fine. But AJ last eliminated Vicky Guerrero.
Yeah, Vicky somehow stayed in the ring, which I don't understand, because from what I saw, when at the beginning of that Battle Royal, every single diva conspired to push Vicky out first. So
that quickly devolved into them fighting each other, so Vicky was able to hang around. But basically, AJ beat Vicky to win the Divas Battle Royal, and Vicky is pissed about it forever.
Really?
But now AJ gets a match with the Divas champion, Layla.
Yeah, she's got a title match. Oh, okay.
Yo. And then I also wrote, after winning the Divas Battle Royal, AJ started yes chants after winning eye emoji.
Oh, yeah. Oh, again, you want to talk about aping someone's bit. Oh, boy. AJ looked at the yes chant and is like, that's my chant now.
I have so many notes of AJ yes chants, doing yes chants.
Oh, yeah.
This is but the first.
Also, I sat there after watching a quick glimpse of the Divas Battle Royal, watching now this match, and I had the realization of, like, half the time, wrestling gear is low-key indistinguishable from, like, tight-fitting swimwear.
Oh, absolutely
Which makes it even more impressive that the fucking Divas Beach Battle Royale still managed to make the whole bikini thing feel really gross and exploitative. It's like a feat at that point.
I think it's because they're calling it out. They're drawing attention to it.
Yeah. They're like, hey, were you aware that all of these women have boobs?
Except when they want to shove a camera up Melina's ass. They don't usually, call out to like how like sexy looking divas look in their regular gear. As opposed to the Beach Battle Royal, where the whole point is like, women in bikinis, puppies.
Woo! Yeah, you love to see it. Absolutely incredible stuff right there. What the fuck else is going on? Also on commentary, Booker making it clear that he can be added to the long list of everybody who doesn't watch Raw.
Yeah, they recap it for Booker, and Booker is very incredulous at the idea of Kane of anybody calling AJ mentally unstable.
Yeah, and I think Michael Cole's like, yeah, don't you watch Raw? And Booker's like, what? No.
Booker's like, no,
Why the fuck would I watch Raw?
Mm-hmm. My next note goes, arm drag into a roll up, chain wrestling, real good wrestling here.
The work here looks good. The work looks good. It looks good. What? That's not how that works.
Yeah, this is a Divas match that isn't total trash.
Imagine my fucking shock. Jesus.
Yeah, Layla did a thing where she like hopped up onto the top of the turnbuckle and then did a crossbody to AJ. It was the dopest thing.
Oh, it was so sick. And now Daniel Bryan is here to fuck things up.
Don't worry, it's still a Divas match. It's not gonna go too long.
We're not gonna take that. You thought we were gonna take this shit seriously all the way through? Nah, fuck you.
Now out comes Daniel Bryan to just start yes chanting all over the ringside area, and AJ's like, "What?"
AJ gets distracted.
And then Layla wins with some sick roll-up thing.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, she like grabs AJ and just whoop, dead.
Yeah. It's like she like rolls up AJ and held her by only one of her legs so she could like be facing up as she rolled up AJ. It was it's really cool looking.
Oh, it was sick.
But she wins the match. And after that, AJ is real pissed that this happened, and so she starts beating the shit out of Layla.
Yeah, she starts having a little meltdown in Reno, and then she turns and looks at Daniel, and yes, kick his ass, kick his ass, kick his ass. But then they stare each other down, and then they start yelling yes at each other, and then
not yet. Hold on, we got more we got to discuss what Bryan's doing here. Is as Bryan explains, it's not so fun when someone distracts you in a match, is it? Daniel, however, makes sure to make clear that he doesn't crave attention. And there's a lot of ironic dialogue in this series of episodes, and I laughed at all of them because I get it.
Daniel Bryan doesn't crave attention, just like Kurt Angle did not tap to the crossface.
Course. But he has important things he needs to discuss with Vicky Guerrero, who is, of course, still the GM for the time being. And he is not leaving until he gets what he wants. He is going to stand here and ruin the show. He's protesting. He, in fact, starts intending to yes chant for 2 hours straight.
Yeah, he's like, I'm taking over the show, baby.
And AJ starts doing it with him, and then the crowd goes along with her, and then we come back from commercial with them dueling yes chants.
And they're still doing it. They had a whole ass commercial break where they were just standing there doing it. Holy shit.
And then, of course, excuse me!
Excuse me! Excuse me! Yeah.
Vicky comes in here to stop all this nonsense. And Vicky says to Daniel that everyone here is tired of him repeating his tired, annoying catchphrase. I said, excuse me!
I didn't catch that the first time around because I don't find Vicky's excuse me catchphrase annoying. I love that shit. So that went right over my head. I'm not even joking.
Now, like I said, ironic dialogue here. But Bryan says he did it to make a point because he will soon be the WWE champion and everything will revolve around him anyway. So might as well get a head start.
Absolutely.
And so Bryan tries to butter up Vicky for she's like, you did such a great work working with the board so quickly to get me a title match. And that she should be in charge permanently.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan's like, Vicky, come with me. Think of what we could do together.
No, he literally says we'll need to work together hand in hand.
Yes. And then the punchline to this
Bryan has an idea for his title match.
Yeah.
Is that AJ should be banned from ringside because, and I quote, she is a liability, she is unstable, she is a menace like Spider-Man. And I refuse to lose my opportunity because of her.
Get me pictures of AJ Lee.
Vicky understands he is not a fan of AJ, and she's like,
so fucking
I will
salty
fight
about the battle
little
royale.
girl. But
what would Vicky have done? Would she have earnestly tried to challenge for the fucking Divas belt?
Absolutely, she would have.
I feel like she would have died.
But Vicky doesn't have that level of self-awareness. So,
oh no.
But
Vicky, no, she can't hear us. She's got AirPods in.
As Vicky starts ranting about AJ, Daniel Bryan is to cut in. Is like, hey, this is not about AJ. This is about me.
I am concerned when we are not about me.
That is very, it's a good summation of the entire AJ Bryan relationship.
Pretty much, yeah.
Vicky's apologetic to Daniel because it's a good idea, but the board, there was a WWE.com poll about AJ. Should she be guest timekeeper, guest referee, guest announcer, or guest commentator? And obviously, with 76% of the vote, she got guest referee. And the board has asked Vicky to go along with the poll results.
Yeah, somehow Vicky seems blindsided by this, which, like, how? Did you not read it beforehand? Did you not know the results you were going to announce?
Yeah, apparently not. Apparently she was finding out live on air.
Yeah, that doesn't shock me.
But yes, this is another one of WWE's famous things of how they make the polls legit, but they will stack the options to get what they wanted to have happen. Because best referee is so obviously the most interesting thing that AJ could do in the match. So obviously that's the one everyone voted on.
This is such HD bait, dude. High def bait right here. Let me tell you. Yeah, and DB of course responds to this exactly how you'd respond, which would be to yell, "No! No! No! No!"
No. Vicky is fun though because she gets pissed. She's like, I can't believe this. She's like, but of course I totally agree with the board of directors, and I think AJ will make a fantastic referee.
Oh my god. Vicky making those ass kissing noises all the way to the bank.
So AJ yes chants all the way up the ramp, and Bryan just starts going, No!
I have to say, when Daniel Bryan is in his like most vitriolic state and starts screaming no, there is something magical about watching his face contort with pure rage. Just he becomes a creature from beyond. A demon inhabits his body and manifests on his face as he just spews out no. Good shit. I love to see it. But yeah, clearly we switch episodes again. Yes.
No, there's one more thing. Backstage, AJ is like thinking about guest referee. That sounds nice. And Bryan comes up to her and apologizes for being distracting earlier. But
yeah, he's like, clearly I need to switch tactics.
But he's just concerned for her mental well-being. And he's like, it's okay to get help. And I have a doctor friend I could put you in touch with that he's really good. So like, do you want me to give you his number? AJ's only response is yes. And she walks on down the hallway.
And Daniel Bryan's like, wait, but legit, do you want his number though?
It's like, no, Daniel, she does not.
Yeah, no.
As we will learn plenty going into later in the night, AJ does not need to seek professional help. She is in full control at all times.
She's perfectly fine, everyone. Don't worry about it. So now
we skip the events of the July 2nd episode of Raw because we're going to get the recap video of it on the special Great American Bash edition, live edition of SmackDown of July 3rd.
Why were they doing a non-pay-per-view GAB? Whatever.
Because America, July 4th.
Fuck yeah!
Coming to save the motherfucking day, yeah!
Absolutely. We cut over to Michael Cole in the middle of the ring with a microphone. And Michael Cole says to the audience, "Can I have your attention, please?" And the audience says no. The audience is like, "No, fuck you.
I actually don't want to give you my attention.
We don't want to hear you talk, Michael Cole," shockingly.
Right. But he is here to conduct an interview in the ring with AJ Lee. And
according to him, most controversial and talked about figure in the WWE today. What a weird fucking way to get over.
I guess that's true, but I don't know. AJ comes down and Cole opens with he wants AJ to agree that they've had interviews before and that he has been very fair and balanced.
TMC.
However, but she has been anything but balanced. And so now we get a recap of what happened on Raw. Okay. So it is announced that, Bryan meets AJ backstage. AJ's getting ready for her match she has it is Sheamus and AJ versus Vicky and Dolph Ziggler. And Bryan comes up to her and tries to give her a rose and says he's always cared about her. And AJ bites the head off the rose and is like, "No, you don't.
Yeah,
you're
he
full
says
of so
cared
much
about you." And AJ says X.
Yeah, so AJ wins the match against Vicky, and then she runs backstage and is like, "Hey, Punk. And Punk, for the past 15 minutes of time, has been on the phone with his sister, and so did not watch AJ's match. She's like, "So you're not paying attention to me?" And she walks away all sad, and Punk is like, "No, stop. What? Oh God, why is this happening to me now?"
Punk continues to be very awkward about feelings. CM Punk, coolest guy in the room. As soon as you start showing emotion, he just like robot mode.
He's just like,
what is this?
Hover hand.
It is not indignant, righteous rage. I cannot process this emotion.
And so later in the show, Eve Torres, who was, you didn't see this part, but she gets humiliated by Teddy Long, who was in charge of the show that night, and makes her wear the "Hello, I'm Eve Torres" sticker, because that's what Johnny and Eve made Teddy wear when he was their like assistant servant person.
Okay.
This is it's a modicum of revenge, but Eve is all pissy. And so she tries to take it out on AJ. It's like, "Oh yeah, I saw that. You're really taking a play out of my book, trying to get attention, aren't you?" And AJ's like, "You know what? You're right, Eve. You are an attention seeker, but you think you know how to get attention. Tonight, I'll show you how to get attention." And so later in the evening in the main event, which is I wrote, what is this? What was this match that I wrote down here? The match is John Cena and CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan and Chris Jericho.
Okay.
And in the middle of the match, while Punk and Bryan are wrestling, AJ comes out and she grabs a table and she jumps up to the top rope and threatens to throw herself through this table. And this makes Daniel Bryan run over to get in front of the table and be like, "No, don't do it." And then Punk jumps up to the top rope where she is and is like, "Hey, don't do it." And her response is she kisses Punk, pushes Punk off the top rope,
Long
and then
live the king.
The king.
No. Yeah. Anyway,
pushing Punk and Bryan through the table. And then she starts yes chanting. And anyway, she starts yes chanting.
AJ surveys with dark contempt in her eyes the crumpled bodies of the two men she just absolutely demolished. And whoever wrote this angle clearly thinks they're creating an art house movie.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's weird. It's at this point in the story, I don't really know how to feel about AJ, because it's like they're leaning into, like, this is where they're really leaning into the idea she's crazy and attention seeking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not just like I'm jumping around between what guy I'm romantically interested in now. Like, this episode, she acts like obnoxious to Punk, and then because Punk didn't pay enough attention to her, throws him through a table.
Yeah. I understand the progression. That said, I'll have things to say / ask you about when we get to the end of this episode when it comes to just
how that all ties together, because I don't think it does.
Personification of AJ on a whole.
Yes, I think that's fair. But we cut back to SmackDown, and Cole asks her what she was thinking, and before AJ can give an answer, he's like, "I'll tell you what you were thinking. You weren't thinking." Great.
And basically, Michael Cole goes on to say in so many words, "You're a crazy bitch. You need like a paternalistic daddy to teach you right from wrong. Do you want to have sex with me?"
I feel like I should definitely first bring up that before we get to that part, he calls her nothing but a troubled little girl and unable to be a referee, and then he calls her a teenager. And I'd like to point out that AJ is 25 at the time of this episode, but also
only a year older than me. That's wild.
But also, when you say things, calling her, trying to infantilize her as a girl when she is an adult woman, it makes the next part, the second part that David mentioned, a lot creepier.
Like I said, paternalistic daddy.
Where he's like, "I don't know what you see in any of these men that you keep chasing around," and asks if she has ever considered pursuing a real man. Maybe a man who has been a war correspondent.
Dude, fucking yeah. Wait, hold up a second. I thought that being bad touched toward an infantilized younger woman that you want to be a daddy to was Jerry Lawler's bit. What? Why are you letting Cole do this, you piece of shit? It's your job.
Cole stealing your bit.
Everybody's stealing everybody's goddamn bits tonight. What a fucking load. All right? Everyone needs to sue everyone else for copyright infringement.
Cole does very, very bad flirting, where he tries to portray himself as like peak manhood. And Daniel Bryan, thank God he is here.
Man, didn't think I'd fucking be saying that. Oh, thank God Daniel Bryan's here.
Yeah, so as we get back to Bryan's like, "Stop, please stop." And the ironic dialogue continues as Bryan's to Cole says, "You think you're some big, tough, investigative reporter? You're a sexist, abusive bully."
Yeah. Daniel Bryan does a great job of recognizing narcissism in anybody but himself.
In anyone else.
He's like, and I would know.
Yep. So Daniel Bryan is like, he says that he knows AJ better than anyone, and he knows she's taking her referee job very seriously and will do an excellent job. He also knows that she didn't mean to put both Punk and Bryan through the table. And he forgives her for not realizing that Bryan was in the way.
Yeah, that's totally how it is. Like, immediately starts revisionist historying this whole shit just because he's trying so hard to butter AJ up for this fucking guest ref thing. Oh my God.
Out comes CM Punk to be like, at this point, and Punk immediately is like, "Cole, this has nothing to do with you. Get out.
You're irrelevant. Go fuck yourself." Ugh, King.
Of course. And Punk mentions that 2 people were affected by AJ's actions, and like he's not going to sweep what happened under the rug to try to suck up to her, because he is going to be blunt, because he is worried about her. You're not in a good place mentally, and maybe some of that is my fault.
Yeah, Punk's like, oh shit, maybe I should have put my boner away and set some boundaries.
I should have. He's like, I see how I have had a part to play in what has happened here.
May or may not have encouraged some of this.
So I'm going to apologize for that. And Punk suggests that she needs professional help. And unlike some people over there, he will not stand here and lie and string her along. And then he's like, I think you're a sweet girl. And then here comes Bryan. What a load of garbage.
Yep. And not projecting.
Daniel Bryan, king of projecting, thinks that this is all some ploy by CM Punk. And he's like, Punk doesn't care at all about AJ, but I care. And he says the only thing Punk cares about is that she's our referee, because you need her to beat me.
Not hitting the copium.
And at this point, Punk is like, how fucking dare you say that?
I took that personally.
He did. He tries to step up, but AJ holds them apart. And I wrote, AJ starts macking real good on Bryan. Punk goes to walk away sad.
Punk's like, wait, I'm emotionally affected by this. What the fuck?
What? But then, after she notices Punk leaving, she quickly goes out of the ring and catches up to him and grabs him by the arm. And then she starts macking real good on Punk.
Yeah, so much for setting boundaries and putting your boner away. What the fuck, dude?
And then AJ smiles and skips off. Both men are standing there stunned, and AJ just starts yes chanting and laughing.
Absolutely slack-jawed. Yep. You know, as you do.
Okay. Now to the July 9th episode of Raw, where Raw, AJ opens Raw. Okay. So I will use this moment to bring up that another good sign of like how this story has transitioned away from being about the title to being about AJ is how much of this story is told through these lengthy promo monologues.
Oh my God.
There are significantly fewer matches tonight because most of them are unimportant.
Matches on my wrestling show.
Fuck that.
Unthinkable. Yeah, we all know the joke at this point.
Yes. AJ is here to reiterate that she is the special referee for the WWE title match, and her actions can greatly affect the outcome of the match.
Yeah, she's like, I know my actions have consequences. You do?
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
Doesn't sound entirely correct at all. No, sir.
You have not been working with that the whole time.
I think this is a newer discovery for you, madam.
Yeah, so with that in mind, she wants help from the crowd to welcome Punk out to the ring. And Punk is here. He's confused. And he's like, what am I doing here? Why is this happening?
Yeah, okay. Oh, fuck. I can't remember. Okay, I can't remember when this line happened. I think it happened before Punk, though. Might have happened while AJ was entering. It happened while AJ was making her entrance earlier. Fuck. Fucking Lawler goes, here comes AJ. They named the clock for her. Cuckoo. Lawler's back.
Yeah, they named the clock after her. Cuckoo.
Yeah, Lawler's back, baby. This is the dumb, annoying, problematic piece of shit I know and love.
He's gonna be real back later.
We'll get there.
But AJ is like that he showed her his true feelings for her by saying she needs professional help, but she does not, because she is in full control at all times. And at this point, AJ's crazy chants start, of course. But she appreciates the sentiment, and she's like, no one has ever cared about me or shown compassion like you did. And when I kissed you, I knew it. I knew what I had to do. And Punk is standing here the whole time, thoroughly unimpressed with what is happening.
It is you fill me up with passion. Okay.
Yeah, I did write. I did feel like this was a quote I needed to put on this podcast, so I did write the quote. It's your eyes. They send love straight into my heart. You fill me up with passion and desire. In essence, you turn me on.
Yeah.
I wrote Punk wishes he could be literally anywhere else.
Yeah. He's so uncomfortable, dude. It's so funny. I love like God Kane over here, like, I don't do feelings. Punk is the real I don't do feelings motherfucker. I am all in on like awkward dork Punk who has no idea how to respond to like people expressing themselves to him.
I'm willing to save more of this discussion for at the end, and we can talk about every person individually here. Mm-hmm. But in this arc, it feels like Kane is like trying to like force himself to not feel feels because he thinks he shouldn't, because he's a monster.
He's a monster.
Meanwhile, Punk is just very conflicted.
Punk is just he just is like, I don't know how to process any of this. Please help. He's literally like, can somebody help me? I don't understand how this works. Yeah.
And then AJ, knowing what she has to do, backs up and gets down on one knee.
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk, will you marry me? And then I wrote at this point, just say no chance. Start out.
Yup.
But then there are people doing the yes chance as well. So, there are people into it.
Well, again, we got the Twitter poll. So, like, see, the real takeaway for me is that AJ, no, you need to like hop in a TARDIS and fucking do this hop forward 2 years and then do this. It'll work like a fucking charm.
Yeah, this is gonna go a lot better for you in a couple years.
Yeah, seriously.
Too early.
A little too early. It's too early in the time.
It's like the Flash when Batman v Superman. Am I too soon?
Pretty much.
So Daniel Bryan starts running in yelling no, as you'd expect. And Bryan says she is about to make the biggest mistake of her life because CM Punk doesn't love her. He's just using her.
Shocker. Shocker of all shockers.
And Bryan
believes that.
And Bryan claims he never stopped having feelings for her, while Punk only cares about himself.
Yeah, Punk looks just fucking nonplussed by all of this. He's like, Can I go? I don't want to be here.
This is when Punk is like, hey, you don't know me, man, and you don't know how I feel about AJ. And
yeah, you don't know jack shit. Just
Bryan's like,
stop
bet
for me and shut up.
Bryan goes, bet, and because he's like, if I'm wrong, then just say I do, Punk.
Yeah. Again, to fucking talking about aping bits again. Fucking Daniel Bryan is telling he doesn't want Punk to say yes. He wants Punk to say I do, which typically comes like little while later, and usually say yes to the proposal, but yes is his line, you see, and he's not going to sit here and let anybody ape his bit, despite the fact that AJ's been doing it fucking constantly.
Yeah. So at this, Punk is conflicted and hesitates, and this is where Bryan sees an opportunity, and he's like, this man sees you as a special referee. I see you as a special
person.
And Bryan says they're so connected, they had the same idea. Because when he woke up this morning, he didn't intend to stop a proposal. He intended to make a proposal. So he and Bryan gets down on one knee and proposes to AJ.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, baby. We're going this direction with it. Abusive ex-boyfriend Daniel Bryan is now trying to pop the question. This is great.
Popping the question to try to save a relationship. Tale as old as time. Maybe
Tale as old as Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth.
Maybe they should try having a couple of kids too. See if that saves it.
I see nothing. I see absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing that could possibly go wrong having a kid to save the relationship. No, sir.
So Punk is like, this is a load of crap.
This is a bunch of barnacles.
Punk decides to stick a hole in this here plot, as he's like, why, if this was so pre-planned, why do you not have a ring, jackass?
And Punk's like,
Bryan tries to be like, it's in the back.
Like, yeah, it's in the back, don't worry about it.
And Punk tries to offer to take her backstage and they can talk out everything going on here. and then bring the anonymous Raw general manager is here.
When they said they were bringing back old GMs, I don't know why I didn't immediately think they were going to pull this shit again.
It is time to watch Michael Cole once again read emails from a laptop.
The anonymous Raw GM is back, baby. And apparently, today I learned that the fucking anonymous Raw GM is a Hornswoggle.
Yeah, I have no idea what, if any, plans they had for the original idea for who this was supposed to be. But when they brought back this character through this in one episode, they decided to reveal who it was. And why not? LOL, it's been Hornswoggle the whole time.
Hornswoggle this whole time. Yeah, sure. Sure thing.
Hornswoggle, when you need a quick fix to your mystery plot. Who is Vince McMahon's illegitimate bastard son?
I was gonna say, wait, I think we can tune Nichols like a Hornswoggle being retconned into dumb bullshit like this.
You can. Illegitimate bastard son of Vince McMahon? Let's make it Hornswoggle. Anonymous Raw general manager? Make it Hornswoggle.
Fucking Hornswoggle.
J.J. Abrams can take notes on how to solve his mystery box plots that he never has the answers to when he starts it. Who is Ray's parents? One of them is, in fact, Hornswoggle.
Yeah, seriously. He just needs to have Hornswoggle on his fucking payroll at all times. Ray who? Ray Hornswoggle.
Ray Hornswoggle!
I need that, and then I need to like edit in the clip of like the one audience that like flipped out and was like someone yelling, "I fucking hate Star Wars!"
Alright, let's get back to wrestling here. The much less silly thing.
True.
So the laptop explains it's running Raw tonight, and also it ships Punk and AJ real hard.
Oh,
it is team A Punk.
Dude, Hornswoggle is writing all this fucking fan fiction for it, I guarantee you.
Yeah, so it thinks that Punk and AJ make a great couple, and so tonight it will be CM Punk and AJ versus Eve and Daniel Bryan. And Bryan is like, this is not fair! Fuck you!
This is not fair at all. No. Yeah, not too happy with this. No, sir.
And the laptop's only response is, hey Daniel, maybe if you win tonight, AJ will see you in a different light. Or not.
Fucking Hornswoggle's a petty bitch, okay? He's like, hey, get good, scrub. Maybe your simpery will get you something. I'm not saying it will, but it might. And I know you're too much of a simp to resist.
So AJ is like, man, this whole thing is confusing right now, and she acknowledges she caught Punk by surprise tonight, but also Daniel caught her by surprise, and so now they all need some time to think. But she says she is glad this match happens because everything happens for a reason, and she has a feeling she's walking out of the arena with her future husband. And again, like when she said I guarantee the best man will win at No Way Out. It's like, why do you sound so ominous when you say things like that?
Is that ominous? Is that do we think that's like what could come of that? I don't know. I love how like AJ's whole like character is at this point is just like say a thing and it'll just sound ominous. Just for the effect.
Just
why not? Don't think about it
and
too
we'll
hard.
See what happens.
See, whatever. I feel like this is the beginning of like the fucking not the beginning, but this is one of the earlier signs of like, man, this plot just kind of unravels at some points because literally everything AJ said sounds ominous, and like at some point you just can't rely on her verbal cues to actually tell you whether or not like something's gonna be an important like line that's gonna be a surprise tool to use for later.
Yeah, it's weird. So later in the night, we get Eve and Daniel Bryan versus AJ and Punk. At this point, I note in the front row, we have a sign that says, yes, 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 shut the fuck up.
Wait, does it actually say shut the fuck up?
It has the starry stars to cover fuck.
Oh, no.
You know what it says. You know what it says.
That would have been awesome. Shut the frick up. Absolutely. Yeah. So they have a little matchety match. It's not terribly eventful.
It's very short. Like Punk and Bryan do a little wrestling together. Then AJ forcefully tags herself in, and AJ and Eve have a little bit of a fun back and forth. I have always been a defender of Eve Torres as being like pretty athletic and pretty good for a Divas era wrestler. She just kind of largely got over playing characters that weren't wrestling, so she didn't wrestle enough.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad time at all. I quite enjoyed good old Evie Eve on this one. She seemed like a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, so Eve goes to make the hot tag, and Bryan just jumps off the apron and refuses to tag her in. And so AJ gets the roll up for the win.
Oh yeah, DB like purposefully fucks over Eve.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I have it in my notes as DB throws Eve to the wolves because he's a simp. And then I just proved to you that you mean more to me than any match.
Yep.
Really, any match.
Any
match. Okay. And then Punk gets on mic and he's like, yeah, okay. So
I've had enough of this.
I've had enough of this. This is getting stupid. Thank you, Punk, for being the voice of reason. AJ, look, to be very clear, I'm not going to marry you. And I said X.
But he acknowledges this could cost him a title. But he's like, I got to be honest. And he says, if me saying that hurt you somehow, I'm sorry, but at least I care enough about you to tell you the truth.
Pretty much, yeah.
And AJ starts crying and then walks up to Punk and slaps him in the face.
Yeah, and AJ takes this about as well as you'd expect.
And Bryan is like, ha 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 ha, I am the winner. And he's like, he calls over to AJ, like, come home, AJ.
Mm-hmm.
Come home, which of course means AJ walks over and slaps the shit out of Bryan as well.
Yes. Everyone's getting slapped up in here. No one is safe.
And then I wrote, AJ starts smiling and yes chanting. Her yes chant starts sounding more forced and sad. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
I mean, AJ as a performer.
Like as it was fading to black, it felt a little more like, yes.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't put it past AJ as a performer to like add a little touch like that. Don't know if it was intentional on the writer's part, but you know, she's adding those layers. But yeah.
And so we cut on to Money in the Bank on July 15th, 2012. And backstage, Matt Striker is talking to AJ in her ref gear. Mm-hmm. She's got her reffing tank top on, as you do.
As you do.
Of course. And Striker is asked her about her mental stability, and she once again assures us that she is in full control.
Oh, she's totally fine, guys. Don't worry about it.
And she assures Matt that, as much as Punk broke her heart and stomped out her feelings and made her so angry on Monday, that he is a good person, and it's fine.
She is fine. This is fine.
Everything's fine.
She's fine.
It's very fine.
It's fine.
And she acknowledges that you never forget your first love in Daniel, even when they use and manipulate you.
Yeah, and she starts getting angry again.
Yeah, she's like crying and angry. And it's honestly, I really was like, damn, this is sick. This is pretty good. I definitely need to include this interview bit with here.
Yeah, one bad.
Like,
well, and she's like,
I don't know if I want to hug them or kiss them or rip out there. And she stops herself.
She stops herself. Clearly, AJ wants to rip Punk and DB's cocks off.
Of course.
Absolutely.
And she composes herself. She's like, match is next, and walks out for the match.
She's ready to go. She's got the gear. I mean, come on. She's all set, baby. Nothing to worry about here.
Yeah. So at Money on the Bank, during the entrances for AJ Lee, Michael Cole starts talking about Tout. And yes, it is time to talk about Tout.
You have a whole thing for Tout.
Not that much of a thing for Tout, but a thing.
Yeah, you told me it was Vine, but shitty.
Essentially, it was. So, okay. Tout was a social media service that started in 2010. It basically peaked in 2011 to 2012, if you consider a peaking.
Oh man, what a shelf life.
Yeah. It basically, WWE is basically, when I say Vine was shitty, as in literally it was just 15 seconds. It was composed of 15-second videos only, with the idea that you can give your thoughts on things in 15 seconds.
I love how, we live in a world where Twitter kind of told people, hey, sometimes people can get things out of, having distinctly short-form content, and, everyone has taken that super literally and is like, yes, we will be successful if we have, short things only on our platform. There's nothing else to this. We've cracked the formula, boys.
I suppose I called it Vine, but shitty. But honestly, now that I'm saying it again out loud, it almost is more like TikTok, but shitty.
I guess, but TikTok allows you to do videos of varying lengths and shit.
True, but it's
but I was 10-minute videos.
Dang, but I was thinking more of it's more designed for it's not designed Vine was designed more to do short clips of stuff, whereas Tout is more like your Twitter but talking, I guess, and TikTok feels more akin to what you can do on TikTok.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair. Vine was a lot more strictly for comedy skits.
Yeah, 6-second comedy videos is everything. What people use Vine for.
Roadwork ahead. I sure hope it does.
Yeah, but in summer 2012, WWE invested a bunch of money into Tout. That went well, didn't it?
Oh, and yeah. Yet another one of Vince McMahon's extremely successful business ventures. Thank you very much.
Right. So for a few years there, WWE tried to push Tout as a thing. They encouraged their fans to do Tout. Sometimes they play videos from fans on Tout on Raw and SmackDown.
They're like, oh, this is going to get so over.
Yeah, and they would have the wrestlers also use Tout.
Oh my God.
When Brock Lesnar kayfabe retired in August of 2012 to sell his ongoing angles and to give himself time off to come back later, he used fucking tout to say he was quitting.
Are you shitting me? Oh no. Brock.
And
Man.
obviously it was not successful. I'll tell you how successful it was. By early 2012, Tout had received over 12 million visitors and 75 million touts had been shared by users of the service.
May I just say, that's such a fucking dorky name for a service. Tout. Yes.
Well, yeah, you gotta tout it out.
Yourself. Yeah, that's so dorky, dude. Oh my God, I want to give a wet willy to whoever the fuck came up with that. Holy shit.
All right, I need a comparison point. So I'm going to quickly look up Truth Social and see how many people are on that.
Oh, yes.
See if I can find a comparison point of how successful this is. All right, you know what? Truth Social's at 1.7 million unique visitors. I don't know how many. What does that mean? 12 million visits. Like, how many people had tout accounts? I don't know. But when I think of how successful tout was, I think about it in that same realm.
It probably didn't do too well numbers-wise, you know?
No, it was. Why do you think you've never heard of tout before until this episode?
Because I live under a rock and don't know pop culture.
Yeah, and
obviously I missed out on this very important craze just because I'm so out of the know, Austin.
No, and it did literally come right before Vine became a thing. Looking at this now, is that the company Vine was acquired by Twitter in October 2012, and then it was officially started in January 2013.
Man,
so literally, you could argue that Vine killed any hope tout had of succeeding.
I want to believe now that Vine did to tout what the NFL did to the XFL, and that they were like, man, that shitty company that Vince McMahon is running sure is shitty. They got some good ideas though.
I want to pop over to the alternate timeline where tout blew up instead of Vine. I want to know what happened.
That looks like. God. Either way, it's a domino effect that leads to TikTok.
Yeah, I think it does end up leading TikTok. All roads lead to TikTok.
All roads lead to TikTok. That's my new catchphrase, baby. Well, all roads lead to TikTok.
Yeah, basically.
I believe it.
All right, so I made a note. Daniel Bryan looks like he's about to lead a Cuban revolution in that jacket.
I know. Danny Guevara over here.
Yes. So Jerry Lawler, man, he really got into his classic bag of jokes that he said in the 90s for this. Is while they're talking about understanding AJ's actions and motivations, Jerry Lawler pipes in with, well, I can read women. I mean, I prefer the Braille edition, but
what does that even mean, Lawler?
Because Braille is something you touch with your hands. So
Jerry,
so he can read women, but he prefers the Braille.
Jerry, you had two banger lines at the beginning of this, and it's just been especially downhill ever since. I hate you.
Yep. And so the match starts out, and Booker T decides to. I wrote, this is a women be shopping moment as Booker T talks about how AJ, like any woman, must be loving watching two men fight over her.
he says this as a women be shopping moment, and it's disgusting. However, there's a bit later on that makes me think, yeah, we'll get there.
I mean, yes.
We'll get there. He's not necessarily wrong in this one case.
And the match starts with not any bullshit. As much as they are, pearl clutching about the idea of like, and hand wringing about what AJ could do in this match. She stays out of it, and Daniel Bryan and Punk just have some really good chain back and forth wrestling.
Oh my god. I mean, come on. You stick CM Punk and Daniel Bryan in a ring together, those two are just gonna put on bangers. Like, come on. You can't not get bangers with these guys. Even in this stupid fucking storyline, the work rules because Daniel Bryan and Punk only put on bangers.
Yeah. At this point, I wrote Michael Cole's cynicism makes him the least cringe at the table. And what I refer to is they're talking about like Punk and Bryan's motivation, and Cole's like, come on. These men are only in it for the title.
Oh my god!
Like, I can't believe Cole is making the most sense at this table right now.
Yeah, seriously, Punk at the very least only gives a shit. But okay. Oh, fuck! I missed all of the Punk entrance stuff. Okay, so sorry to wind this back for a second. I missed this. Fucking first of all, as Punk's entering, there's a goddamn sign in the crowd that says CM Punk is better than you, and I would love to believe that's a young MJF holding up signs for his wrestling daddy.
CM Punk is better than you, and you
know it. And also, as he's entering, Cole's like, yeah, let me pull out some statistics for you. Punk has had this over like fucking 290-day reign as champion. He has now surpassed Shawn Michaels, 1985? What was it?
Even 95.
Yeah, 1996 run with the championship to become the 17th longest running belt holder. How many main events, Cole? How many main events? I at this point remarked, like, it is fucking wild that Vince let him keep this belt for this long, considering what their relationship most definitely looked like. Man, the things you can do when you're just fucking nuclear over.
Yeah, and then honestly, his reign is going to get inflated because they announced that The Rock is coming back at the Rumble to challenge for the title. Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, guess who's not losing this belt until the Royal Rumble?
Until the Royal fucking Rumble. Yeah. So, like, yeah, my man holds on to it for a hot minute. Partially because he's nuclear over, partially because The Rock. But anyway, all right. So onto the match. Yeah, they're talking about all this about this whole conflict on commentary, and man, Cole, not only is Cole right with his cynicism there, he's also like so close to the point of why, because like Jerry Lawler's like, oh, AJ's an evil, conniving, Machiavellian bitch who knows everything she's doing, and Michael Cole's like, no, she's just confused, and he's like, he gets so close to the point of why she's confused, because he's like, she's gone through all these fucking relationships and all these dudes who kind of like just keep getting involved in her life, and it's like, you're so close, somehow still feels like you're framing this to be her fault.
Oh no, it's entirely her fault, of course.
Oh yeah, bitches be shopping, am I right?
Right. They start Punk and Bryan start fighting on the outside. Punk throws Bryan back into the ring, and as Bryan sets up something near the ropes, Punk sets up something near the ropes. Bryan jumps up to push Punk back into the ropes, and he knocks off AJ, who was trying to get back in the ring.
Yep, and AJ falls over and goes fucking unconscious, and Punk's like, oh shit, and he goes out of the ring to check on her, And Daniel Bryan, of course, says, fuck your empathy. He leaps from the ring onto Punk. Punk manages to fall just to the side of AJ instead of toppling right down on top of her. And then DB picks him up, fucking chucks him into the ring steps, and then goes up to AJ. He's like, hey, is she okay? Oh,
yeah, Bryan notably does not show any empathy in this situation until he is safely taken
politically advantageous for him to do so.
Yes. So AJ gets taken to the back, and a regular referee comes in. So we have a normal bit of a matchy match now.
Oh my god. It's a normal match. There's no AJ shenanigans. We're actually just fighting over a belt. This is so nice.
We've come full circle on this.
I know.
For the time being.
I know. For nature is healing. The circle of life.
So this match was announced on the pay-per-view as being a no DQ match, and they sure do take advantage of that. I mean, they brawl over in the timekeepers area.
It was funny. They brawl into the timekeepers area, and I made a crack about how like there is no big ol' unprotected, precarious timekeeper's desk there for them to like smash into, because on my beloved wrestling show, AEW Dynamite / Rampage, oh man, do they love smashing into the timekeeper table every single episode. And they didn't have that here, and I was like, man, that's kind of a letdown. And as soon as I said that, the fucking audience starts chanting for "We want tables." 800 IQ. I see all. Anyway.
So Bryan scoop Punk grabs the table, but that gives Bryan a chance to recover, and then Bryan grabs a kendo stick.
And they actually call it a kendo stick, and yes, I know it was only an ECW thing to call it a cane, but like it's been a hot minute since I've seen a kendo stick gotten out and heard it referred to as a kendo stick, so it's fucking wild to hear that.
Like I mentioned, like I said, Singapore Kane is just a very special Philadelphian dialect.
It's regional dialect. Anyway.
It's a regional dialect. Really? I've never heard it.
The Bucks County area? Oh, okay, I see. Anyway.
So Bryan, they get back in the ring. I wrote Punk goes for a flying nothing, and Bryan whacks him in the ribs with the
fucking
stick.
Punk gets dicked on mid-air with the kendo stick and then just crumples. Oh my god, that was such a sick spot, dude.
And
holy shit, these motherfuckers are crazy.
And this part I called the passion of the Punk with the stick, as Bryan just starts whipping the shit out of Punk with a stick, with the kendo stick.
Oh my god. Dude, they're not faking these shots. This shit is just going hard. They are taking it all the way, and it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Eventually, Bryan goes for the flying headbutt, but Punk is able to roll away. And then Punk kind of hits a lot of his comeback sequence here. He sets up for the GTS, but Bryan with a sick roll-up to kind of, it's like a head scissors takedown, but into a roll-up pin instead. Pretty sick.
Oh my god. Dude, his takedowns are so cool. He's like a fucking spider. It's horrifying to watch him work. Such a crazy bastard.
And then Bryan goes surfing as he sets up for the surfboard.
And Punk is selling that fucking surfboard.
Like,
he looks like this is the most agonizing shit he's ever endured in his life.
It's like, how do you it's hard to describe the surfboard pole to people who don't know.
It's not even a surfboard, really, if you think about it. But like it's
so
weird. It feels evocative of one, even if it very much is not.
I mean, it worked in WrestleTopia as a surfboard. So.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, but basically, a surfboard is basically you got a guy on you get a guy on their back, actually on their stomach, excuse me, and you kind of step onto them and kind of hook your feet into their feet, and then you grab them by the forearms, and fall back and wrench up backwards. So what ends up happening is you're on your back and they are on their back hanging above you and you're stretching out the limbs.
It's like, okay, something I noticed, which, like, I know that submission holds, like, in reality are pretty much bullshit. That being said, I've seen, okay, I'm going to try to describe this. I've seen these contraptions randomly pop up on the internet recently that it looks like some impossible gravity thing where, like, it's two kind of pieces that are connected by chain in such a way that like the tension allows like one piece to look like it's floating above the other, because there's enough like tension and kind of how the chains are holding it that like one piece can float above another connected by chain, and like if you put stuff on it, it won't fall. It's really sick, and like it kind of looks like that because like your opponent's arms are all the way down and their legs are all the way down, and it looks like they could just come down at any moment, but they just sit there stiff. And I have to imagine that must be like legitimately kind of strenuous, or at the very least it gives off the impression that it is legitimately kind of
strenuous. Because how you would do that move is you just kind of like have to hold yourself up there with, you're getting assistance with your limbs, but you still otherwise have to like hold yourself up in the air while
that's
they do that.
That's some like engagement of core strength at the very least.
I note Booker T is the only one who knows where this move actually is, because he's like, Punk is out there, Bryan's out there hanging 10 right now, dog. And I'm like, haha.
Hey, surfboard, hanging 10, look at that.
Yeah. Punk gets out of it basically rolling himself over, and then he grabs the kendo stick and
I've never seen the surfboard. I don't think I've ever seen the surfboard escape like that. That was really cool.
Yeah. And then Punk sets up for the Macho Man elbow drop, but Bryan runs up to him and then hits him for the superplex. And then AJ is back. She's runs down to the ring. She boots out the other guy. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, she says, "Get lost, motherfucker."
And then while both men are down in the corner, AJ just smiles and starts skipping around the ring before she goes to get a chair.
Yes.
And both men look up at her like, what are you doing with that?
I know. I thought she was about to attack someone. That would have been fucking funny.
It seems like she was thinking about it, but instead her decision was to drop it in the middle of the ring and watch them fight over it.
Watch them go. Yeah. She drops in the middle of the ring and she says, treat this like the beginning of an XFL game.
Yeah, basically.
Die for it, motherfuckers.
Bryan grabs the chair and starts blasting, but he only
started blasting.
But he only gets a 2 count out of it. And and I want to be clear, despite the going into the match about like what will AJ do? Will she favor one or the other? She actually doesn't favor anyone, and she leaves completely fair counts the entire time.
Oh my god, yeah, no. Every time it looks like she's doing something to like favor someone, she either like does a completely fair count or like does something to then favor the other person. Like she's just she's done with everyone's bullshit. She's so tired of this shit. She's just fucking with people at this point. She's having a grand old time.
Yeah.
Of all the people I've seen Joker post on wrestling, AJ is the one who I like get the most out of actually enjoying the Joker posting.
Which is why I lead with that, because after the 2 count, Daniel Bryan gets up and starts like begging and pleading with her. And is
he's like basically fix this match for me.
3. Give me an easy count.
Yeah. And AJ says no.
And Bryan decides to dedicate his yes kicks to AJ. And AJ is mildly disturbed as Bryan kicks Punk into the corner and then just starts kicking him in the corner.
You know, I have to say, I wonder if, like, at this point in his career, Daniel Bryan ever stopped and thought to himself, man, how the hell did I get to the point in my career where I just kind of have to yell yes with every single fucking strike I make. Because seriously, every single individual time he whacks someone, it's yes! Yes! How? How does his voice hold that up? And how did he get to that point?
And he's not even a baby face yet. To where
he
really
like,
the
leans
crowd
into the yes thing? I know. What? How did it get worse from here?
Because he went from I'm going to be obnoxious, so I'm going to say yes to everything, to like the crowd loves me. I'm going to say yes at everything.
Everything. Fucking that one Jim Carrey movie, Yes Man, actually starring Daniel Bryan.
Of course, he would be fantastic. Of course,
that would be unironically great. Put it out by WWE Studios. Anyway,
come on, WWE Studios, bring it out. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But Bryan tries to set up for one big final kick in the corner, and Punk flies out of it to hit him with a clothesline. Punk gets the chair. He nails Bryan with that chair.
Oh, baby.
And then Punk sets the chair up in the corner, in between the turnbuckles.
Yeah, and he's about to throw Daniel into it, but AJ's standing there, and he's like, hey, what are you doing?
Hey!
And he pushes her out of the corner.
In corralling AJ out of the corner, he himself is now in the corner. And Daniel Bryan gets up and drop kicks Punk into the chair.
Yeah, and Daniel's like, aha, I see the tables have turned in my favor.
But at this point, though, Daniel Bryan goes back to the kendo stick, and AJ steps on the stick and stops him from being able to pick it up.
Yep.
So
AJ really said, I'm about to end both these men's whole careers.
Yeah, I read this as like, she doesn't want them to get too violent because she cares about them both in some way.
See, yeah. Now that you say that, probably. I've been wanting to read this as like gaslight gatekeep girl boss AJ, who's just tired of all this bullshit.
Like, hold on, we'll get to gaslight gatekeep girl boss AJ.
Yes, we will. Again, I have a whole thing about that when we get there.
Right,
but
Bryan is like, please let me have this, and AJ just gives her crazy smile at him.
AJ says no heart emoji.
No, it really was literally no heart emoji as a facial expression.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And then Punk gets up, he slams Bryan, he gives a slam to Bryan holding the chair. Then he goes for the elbow drop, but Bryan rolls out of the way, so Punk just elbows the chair. To which God. Michael Cole is like, he might have broken his arm. Which, no.
I will say, fucking ow.
Definitely a painful thing to happen for sure, but no, Cole, he did not break his arm. Bryan gets in the yes lock, and
with the fucking kendo stick.
Yeah, he goes over and grabs the kendo stick and forces it into Punk's face for extra leverage.
Yeah, okay. And here's where we get the culmination of Booker's fucking women be shopping line earlier, because AJ is like now down on all fours looking at it as the ref, but she's got this look on her face.
She has this weirdly seductive look for the circumstance.
Oh, AJ is 100% getting off to this as like live kink porn for her, starring her two boyfriends. AJ is 3 billion% getting off to this, and I hate that retroactively justifies the dumb sexist bullshit that Booker was saying, but AJ is so totally here for it.
Yeah, I would agree. But Punk, he bites Bryan's fingers to make Bryan let go. GTS to Bryan, but Punk, oh shit, he's too hurt. He can't make the cover quickly.
Oh no.
He crawls over, but Bryan is able to kick out. And again, Punk gives a look like she didn't do a totally fair count. Like, he gives her this look as if she had like slow counted him, and she counted at the exact same speed she's done the entire match.
Yeah, pretty much. Fucking paranoid jackass.
So at this point, though, Punk grows and grabs that table he left over in the outside. He puts Bryan on the table. He goes for the elbow drop, but Bryan gets up and fights him on the top turnbuckle. Bryan goes to the top turnbuckle and stands over Punk, basically teabagging him essentially. Punk then gets out from under him and pushes Bryan balls first into the corner post, and then does some absolutely to the forearms of the chest, and then he suplexes Bryan through the table. 1, 2, 3, and CM Punk retains the title.
Yeah, fucking A. Good. That was a sick match, dude.
It was.
Holy shit. Okay, so of course we had to get the AJ shenanigans in there, but I gotta say, those were actually some pretty great AJ shenanigans. Most of the time the AJ shenanigans have been I don't want to say to the detriment of the matches because it was for the story, but they were interruptions to matches that if played straight, would have been just straight bangers. But here, AJ's interference not only added to the story, but kind of added to the tension of the match, the pace of the match. It was actually a really welcome addition, I have to say, this time around.
I 100% agree with all that. And AJ looks conflicted about everything she's witnessed here, and she's like, I don't know, maybe I should have screwed Punk for Daniel. I don't know. I'm wondering about that.
Oh no, AJ, you've been gaslit. No.
But she hands Punk the belt, and Punk completely ignores her as he proceeds to celebrate his title win.
Again, Punk knows his priorities here, and they are not AJ Lee, ironically.
She's over here looking on and being like, I don't know, did I make the right call? Should I have supported Daniel? And Punk is like, yeah, I won the title. I'm the champion,
Punk's in his own little world going belt. Yeah. So that, Punk being continues to be absolutely oblivious to anyone's like emotions is the best part. And then
this is where he steps out of the story. The
last
few episodes of Raw are
Kane is gone, and now Punk is gone, and it's just we're back where we started with AJ Lee and Daniel Bryan.
Right. Okay. The next night on Raw, July 16th. We skip this match because it's not important. Is Daniel Bryan and AJ versus The Miz and Eve, and
for some reason
the match ends where Eve rolls up AJ, but while the ref isn't looking, Daniel Bryan runs in, moves them over, flips them over, so AJ is pinning Eve, and then Eve wins.
Pretty much, yeah. He's just like, whoop, fix that for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then after the match, Bryan gets the microphone, and he is like, that AJ used to tell him something, and it's something that he himself was too stupid and scared to say back. But he realized his career and his whole life won't be right until he says it himself. AJ, I love you.
And then he goes to the edge of the ring, and he gets handed a little box. He's got a ring. He's got a ring.
Now, props to Daniel. He admits that when he did this last week, he was doing it just to get so AJ would help him win the match. But this week, he's like, I'm not asking. I don't want anything but this.
It's totally for real, legit this time.
To be fair, he has no future WWE title match opportunity that AJ can help him with. So, he could be legit this time. But Bryan gets down on one knee and pops the question again. I wrote, Bryan puts the ring on before she even said yes. That's a little presumptive.
A little bit, yeah. He puts the ring on and then holds it up to her mouth. And he's like, ah.
But AJ tearfully says yes. And then they start making out. And then
they start making out.
They do.
And then also AJ tearfully says yes. And I'm like, just a little yes instead of going yes, missed opportunity. Miss Elizabeth would be disappointed, but then they start doing it together after they're done making out, so fine.
Yeah, I noticed there's a big
crowd is
yes
still chanting no.
Mix. Yeah. We skipped the episode of the next episode of SmackDown, July 20th. All that you need to know from that is they had a peep show segment where Christian interviewing AJ and Daniel and being like, "What the fuck is this? What is this?"
And they say they're in love.
They are, and they announced they were being married on the July 23rd, 1000th episode of Raw.
Yeah, the wedding is on Raw 1000. Fuck off.
They threw this whole thing together in a week.
Fuck off. Again, sign of a healthy relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Normal relationship.
So, we're now on Raw 1000. And AJ Lee is backstage talking to Layla about how special and private their wedding is about to be.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Do you get it? Because they're about to get married on TV.
Yeah, I don't understand why they were going for that, but okay.
But Layla's like, are you sure you want to do this, AJ? And she's like, why does everyone keep asking me that? Why does everyone keep asking me if I want to marry my abusive ex-boyfriend who I've been engaged to for a week?
Obviously, the answer is yes.
But she also is like, I don't know why everyone calls me crazy. I mean, have you seen what's going on outside? And so
yeah, AJ's like, it's specifically who's she talking to?
Layla. You know,
Layla. Yeah. Layla's like, you're unstable, and she's like, this whole fucking place is unstable, and she opens her door to a bunch of cameos.
Which fair?
Yeah, but she's not wrong.
It's Raw 1000, so they tried to get as many cameos and fun little bits as they could. So this was where, like, look at all the people we can't have do more than this, but we want to get them on anyway. Because first, the most American boy, Jim Duggan. Just walks by and is rambling. I don't know. And then R-Truth and Roddy Piper come in with a jump rope, and they're like doing jump rope with little Jimmy.
and AJ and Layla stopped to have a whole ass conversation about their relative beliefs in little Jimmy,
Layla's like, oh, that's so cute. And
Layla like, loves little Jimmy.
He is an invisible child.
And AJ is deeply unamused by this completely invisible imaginary child. And then
the real winner of this segment. I thought to myself, do we have to do this segment on this episode? I don't think we did. But because David has now seen the episode that this is referencing, I felt that we needed the 12-year payoff. Because up next, they have a guy in a big hand costume, and Mae Young is with him, and he's like, hey, I'm Mae Young's son. All grown up.
Everybody give her a hand. Oh my god. Okay, so I have a question about this. This is 12 years later.
Yes.
Austin, that hand man looked like he was maybe in his early 20s. Do hands age particularly faster than humans? They got like a fucking Boba Fett thing going on.
I mean, I think this is certifiable proof that hands on their own do in fact age faster than normal
Boba Fett,
humans.
But the clones, whatever. Yeah, apparently hands age decently faster than the rest of us. Yeah, maybe he just ages in double time and is 24. Because, like, that did not look like a 12-year-old boy. And I want to know if that guy's, like, actually related to Mae Young, or if they just snagged a random crew member and shoved him in a hand costume.
I assume they grabbed some random dude and was like, hey, you're going to play the hand.
That's so fucking funny.
All right. Well, it's time for the wedding, though.
Oh my god.
And Jerry Lawler is out here in the ring to introduce the Reverend for this ceremony, Slick.
Reverend fucking Slick, baby. Oh my god.
He's missing his old pimp cane. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, this motherfucker's back. I was like, oh hey, this guy, who totally has not had any problematic spots in the past. So I thought for sure Jerry Lawler was gonna be the minister, and I was real worried. And Austin says, "Oh no, it's even better," and then fucking Slick comes out.
I did
so
say
then
that, and I would
Jerry
agree.
hops back on commentary and starts lampshading his many divorces. And
Oh Lord!
Man.
I didn't catch all of these. David caught me.
For once I caught all of these. So
proceed.
Jerry's like, yeah, I've been married so many times, I got rice marks on my face. And I was like, that's a way to put it. And then he says, marriage is grand, but divorce is 100 grand. God damn it, that was actually funny. Fuck you. And then DB's music hits, and he comes out, and he's in an all fucking white tux, boutonniere, all that good shit. And as he's coming out, Jerry's like, first the engagement ring, then the wedding ring, and then the suffering.
Yeah, I got that one. I'm like,
all right, we're starting to go a little bit downhill.
The boomer marriage jokes are a coming.
Jerry Lawler hates his wives that he always divorced from. And then one more for good measure. They say a man never knows true happiness till he gets married. Then it's too late.
Waka waka waka.
Shut up, Lawler! Shut up, Lawler! Shut up, Lawler! Shut up, Lawler! It's been too long since I've been able to say that.
Yeah.
Shut up, Lawler.
Now this Jerry Lawler getting a chance to make jokes about his divorce put him in rare form tonight.
He's been waiting for this moment. He's been waiting for his chance. He's been stockpiling all of these jokes. He has a little notebook next to his nightstand, and he'll jolt awake in a cold sweat and just start writing them down. He's like, one day I'll be able to use this top tier material about how much I fucking hate all my bitch wives.
I made a note that Daniel Bryan comes out to his normal music and AJ comes out to the wedding procession.
Of course, because, women, am I right?
All right, and then Cole decides to mention other weddings that happened on Raw.
Little trip down memory lane here.
Including the Triple H and Stephanie McMahon wedding, which I will remind you was, as far as we understood it at the time when they aired this segment, was Triple H slipped Stephanie a roofie, put her in a car, and faked his way into getting married to her in a Vegas drive-through wedding, and then consummated the marriage, as Triple H was quick to ensure that everybody knew it happened. So great. All right. Good start. And then Michael Cole decides, and then Michael Cole also brings up, I believe insomnophiliac would be the correct terminology for this.
Yes,
Stephanie
but
would be asleep, not dead.
Well, okay, yes, but for him it's the aesthetic. Look, Katie Vick, all right? Anyway.
Yes. And he brings
I do appreciate
up
that. I was thinking about that too.
Kane and Lita. Which I will again. We've talked about this storyline so many times in passing on this podcast. If only to be like, this storyline was stupid. Was Kane was forced Lita to marry him, and then he put a baby in her in a marriage she didn't want, and then the baby was then she had a miscarriage, because of course she did.
Of course she did, because wrestling pregnancy angles can end only one of two ways, unless you're Mae Young.
And then she learned to start loving Kane through the grief. And then that bitch slut Lita, she cheated on Kane with Edge because they turned Kane into, for a little bit of time, a Matt Hardy stand-in.
You are tearing me apart, Lita. God
In
damn.
short, Cole, why would you bring up these weddings?
At this rate, I know it didn't happen on Raw, but at this rate, if he's reminiscing about all these deeply toxic marriages on wrestling TV, I'm surprised he didn't also bring up Randy and Miss Elizabeth. Oh, is that? I know it didn't happen on Raw, but is that one a little too touchy to bring up, Cole? Is that one a little too yikes for you, Cole? Because the other one seemed pretty yikes to me, Cole.
I don't know. Why don't you bring up? I know it happened on SmackDown, but bring up Billy and Chuck. Why don't you? Where it was all the publicity stunt to work glad.
Least problematic WWE wedding.
Right. So Slick was having way too much fun.
Oh yeah, okay. So Slick starts the ceremony, and for some fucking reason, the crowd starts what chanting at him. And Slick, who I assume isn't terribly familiar with like how fucking flippant the what chant is, leans all the fuck the way in and starts riffing with the crowd. Like he says a line and the crowd says what, and he repeats the line and the crowd says what, and he repeats
marriage.
The line again.
What? Marriage? What? Marriage?
I said marriage!
It's a sacred institution.
Marriage.
So Slick has his fun. And he gets to the speak now or forever hold your peace. And the crowd is like, no.
And Slick's like, I don't know what that was. Slick is clearly unfamiliar with modern fan chants.
But no one speaks up or anything.
Yeah.
So Bryan gets the ring and he's like, I know we've had our ups and downs, but I love you and I will always love you.
Yep.
And he assures AJ that a new chapter will begin from them both. And he will have everything he's ever wanted.
And CM Punk is backstage watching this and going,
everything? Is that right? Everything you've ever
wanted. I wasn't even thinking that. I was thinking more like he's getting some ideas for like 2 years down the line. But yes, also that.
Right. So then Bryan, Slick is like, Bryan, do you take your blah, blah, blah? And he goes, yes. Blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, AJ, do you blah, 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 blah. And she's like, yeah. And she starts saying yes. And I know that the crowd is saying no right now.
Oh, the crowd is so not here for it.
Feels very like that meme of like, isn't there someone you forgot to ask?
I consent. The entire
crowd.
WWE crowd. I don't. We don't.
All right. But before Slick can pronounce them man and wife, AJ decides to pause for a second here because she says that she wasn't saying yes to Daniel. No. She was saying yes to someone else. Another man who made a proposal to her earlier that night.
Yep.
And then, no chance in hell. You got Vince McMahon is here.
Vince shows up and I'm about ready to riot.
For the briefest of moments, it appears that AJ Lee has accepted Vince's marriage proposal.
He's still technically married to Linda at this point, but not remotely surprised that he still would have popped the question to someone else.
But Vince is like, no, Daniel, no. You don't understand. It's not that kind of proposal. It's a business proposal. And to make sure that Raw 1001 is as good a show as possible, I want to introduce to you the newest general manager of Raw. He points to the back. He points towards the back, and then he points to the ring. AJ.
And AJ's like, "Yeah, woo! I'm the new GM. Fuck you, Daniel. Yes." And skips around him, runs out of the ring, and Daniel's left there in the ring, starts freaking out. He takes it about as well as you'd expect, and just has a complete meltdown. Tears of the bouquet.
He destroys the set.
Starts destroying the set, and all the while AJ's just happily skipping down the aisle, I suppose.
And that is how the storyline of this love square ends.
Yeah,
With
okay.
AJ becoming Raw general manager and not being in a relationship with any of them.
Okay, yeah. So, here's the thing. This story is, yes, a mite disjointed. It does not
David,
feel
you're cutting out right now.
Oh, come on. Okay. Here's the thing. This story is
Okay, you're back. Please continue.
There we are. Okay, here's the thing. This story is a mite disjointed. Namely in that none of the conclusions really feel like they match up with what was being set up. Like,
yeah, like
it does not feel like a logical follow through, because we start off right with this CM Punk Daniel Bryan feud / Daniel Bryan is an abusive ex-boyfriend, and those are two different stories. And then Kane gets involved in the feud, and then AJ shows up in the three-way feud and starts macking on everybody. Okay, this checks out so far. We have two disparate storylines, both involving Daniel Bryan, and AJ Lee comes in to be the connective tissue between to kind of like bridge over those two things. Okay, so far so good. And then AJ starts setting to work, wooing all the men, confusing all the men, and like this is slowly becoming her world, and we're all just living in it. The men are fighting for the belt. Punk wins it. The men then fight a second time for no belt, and Daniel Bryan wins to become contender, I guess. I don't know, whatever. But then all of a sudden, AJ's practicing breakup speeches, and then Kane shows up, breaks up with AJ, and then disappears from the storyline completely. What? Okay, then what was the point of getting Kane involved here if he's just going to dip out having gained nothing from the experience? Like literally he's just there to have a punchline about how he's this giant monster and yet he finds AJ unstable. Like that seems to be the point of his involvement, just so he can have that fucking punchline. And then we do Title Feud Part 2. It's just Daniel Bryan and Punk this time again. And AJ's still here, and there's a lot of shit going down between them. There's a whole marriage proposal thing. And AJ's the guest ref, and she's manipulating all of them. And she fucks with both of them during the match. And Punk gets the dub, and she looks all conflicted about allowing Punk to win. And it's like, okay, so Kane dipped out for no reason. That's annoying. But okay, so we clearly have something going here. AJ's got feelings about how this went down between Punk and Daniel, which means there's going to be a conclusion that necessarily involves both Punk and Daniel. No. The conclusion is just AJ marries Daniel because Daniel's reformed, I guess. Press X to doubt bigly. And then they get married. Okay, I mean, now Punk's gone from the story, but interesting. I guess we'll see like part 2 of this relationship, and if it becomes a happy, supportive one, if this leads to like turns for either of them, like what's going on. And then Mr. McMahon shows up and is like, actually, AJ's jilting you to become the GM of Raw. And I need to ask a question here, Austin, because you know story past this.
Sure.
After this, do they ever give a reason? Do they ever give a peek behind the curtain as to how AJ set up this deal with Mr. McMahon, why AJ set up this deal with Mr. McMahon, and how the hell it relates to all the bullshit we just went through for the past month and a half?
All right. I mean, they mentioned that Vince talked to her before earlier in the show. I don't know why he did that.
They never explained what made him approach AJ.
I don't remember. I don't remember her. I feel like the obvious motivation for AJ is she's trying to get back at Daniel, and that is made clear going forward. She basically like fucks with him.
But
Over all of this, that all culminates in her forcing Kane and Daniel to go to anger management class.
But what? That's the punchline? But that was born of what? Okay. And Punk's nowhere to be involved in that anymore.
Punk is on this same episode of Raw 1000. In the main event, John Cena cashes in his Money in the Bank contract to fight CM Punk for the title. There are some bullshit shenanigans with The Rock and the Big Show, but essentially it ends with CM Punk turning heel. So he is completely removed from any of this AJ shit.
Okay. So what was the point of all of this? Because it just nothing leads thematically from one thing to another. There is no satisfying conclusion involving all of the players involved here. Like the most we get is AJ sending Daniel and Kane to heal anger management, but that's not a culmination of like the that's just a punchline. That doesn't feel like a proper like commentary on any of their character. Like it kind of feels like that for DB, and like sending all this to send Daniel Bryan to anger management is something, but then sending Kane there too, like it just feels like a weird long form excuse to get Kane and Daniel Bryan into a weird odd couple tag team. It just feels like a punchline rather than like a fulfilling conclusion of what came before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, there could be a version of this where they play up, like, AJ fucked with all three of these men to, like, prove something, and it's a whole gaslight gatekeep girl boss thing, and that's what gave her the credentials to go up to Vince and be like, hey, bitch, make me the GM of Raw. And Vince, for some reason, to actually bite on that proposition. But no,
like,
it's
that. Like at best, you can say the last 2 weeks were that, and even that kind of requires you to just assume she was always going to leave Daniel at the altar, which is not necessarily what the story says. What happened? What they said happened was she got a new offer that night to do something to jilt Daniel.
And again, like you could say she was trying to get that offer from Vince, but we see nothing before or after to indicate that.
Yeah.
So what was the point?
Yeah, story's a mess, and AJ's actions are the hardest to actually kind of follow.
Like, again, you could just tell a story about a woman who was in an abusive relationship and, like, was struggling with the fallout from that, but then they kind of actually turn her into AJ Lee conniving Machiavel. So, what?
Yeah, this third segment of this story, when I was putting it together and planning, that specifically I knew was going to annoying me was AJ's actions. Even in the second part, even though her actions were very like erratic, you could still follow her general logic behind what she was doing any particular thing. It is hard to follow her it's hard to understand what AJ is doing in this entire third part, because she opens.
Yeah.
We start with her working out breakup speeches as if she is understanding that maybe it's better if she gets away from all of them. Yeah. However, Kane beats her to it, and then she decides to actually try to get back with Punk, and she gets aggressively needy about Punk about it. And then
okay, and here's the thing that I want to include into the description of this is that like every time they do a segment like that, or a lot of times when they do a segment like that, they like will linger on AJ after like the talking portion of any kind of segment like that is done, and sometimes she'll just be there blank face, or sometimes she'll give like this cheeky little devilish smile, and it feels like
sometimes she starts crying.
Yeah, and it feels like it's supposed to read like this cold, calculated, haha, I played you, I played everybody sort of thing. But to what end? Again, in theory, the end of becoming GM of Raw, but what for?
And then, and then we get to the special ref stuff, and and she seems to initially see through Daniel Bryan's obvious horse shit.
Yeah.
But then by the end, she seems to be sincere. Like when we get to the wedding, to the original marriage proposal, she does seem to treat that as like sincere. She doesn't dismiss out of hand that Bryan is being manipulative one more time.
Yeah.
And then we get to the match, and it's all this setup to like her picking a side, and the answer is she doesn't. And like that feels weird, because this whole arc, she's never been indecisive in the moment. She jumps back and she jumps around between who she decides to have affections for. But in the moment, she's never like, God, I don't know who I'm attracted to here. I don't know who to support. And yet in Money in the Bank, that's the entire impetus of what happens, is she is conflicted about whether to support Daniel or Punk, and she chooses nothing. And that feels weird. That feels like a bad resolution to this entire arc, which is entirely devoted to who will AJ support.
Yeah, and again, you could go like she's detached and she doesn't actually give a shit about anyone, but you have to give purpose behind that and have it be like, I played all of you bitches. But they never fully commit to that.
Right, and then we get to the wedding. We get to the marriage proposal 2.0 that she accepts. And like I said, you could try to read that as, considering what happens at the actual wedding, as like, oh, this was all part of the plan. Except the story doesn't frame it as if that's part of the plan because of the timing of events. If they had instead said, last week I accepted a different proposal from another man, then you could play that off as AJ always knew she was going to do the thing she did. That she was going.
Like she's been planning this, of course.
Right, but because they have to make it an extra twisty twist and make it that Vince came to her at Raw 1000, we have to kind of assume that she was being sincere in accepting the marriage proposal.
So what the fuck?
Yeah, like for the first time in this arc, I can't tell you what AJ's motivations seem to be. Like the part one was all about her still kind of like grieving her relationship with Daniel and kind of struggling to come to terms with the idea that Daniel was in fact a bad person.
Yes.
The second part was about her clearly feeling some kind of attraction to three different men and just jumping between them. And because she sees different value in each relationship as well, she openly calls Punk her soulmate. Everything she says about Kane is very much related to this idea of like feeling some kind of raw, passionate attraction to him.
Yeah.
And she's still also hung up on Daniel. So she is conflicted and jumping around almost as if to kind of figure out which choice she should work with here.
And again, this all checks out so far because, yeah, AJ's like still dealing with the fallout of Daniel Bryan being a giant piece of shit and breaking up with her for after abusing her. Like, yeah, okay, now make a conclusion that makes sense to this, please.
And we hit the conclusion, and it doesn't really make sense at all. Like,
nope.
There is a way to tell this story where you look at where you began and where you ended makes sense. The way they told it does not make. In fact, you could argue that might even be the best way to end this story. This story, like you could easily like it begins with her getting out of a relationship with her abusive ex, and it ends with her jilting her formerly abusive ex for her own empowerment. That's literally the plot to Legally Blonde. So you can tell that well, but WWE didn't. And I had fun with the shippy aspects of this story. I make no bones. I make no.
And you know what?
Free to say
Godspeed. So. You earned it.
And AJ's one of my all-time favorite female wrestlers. She was my first favorite female wrestler, and she does great work in this angle. But I am forced to confront the fact that this story's really stupid.
It's
10 years on.
Extremely stupid. It's so extremely stupid. And, you know, at this point, you've swallowed your bit of humble pie. I almost feel bad for, like, just unabashedly pointing this out. It was fun. It had its moments, and the work was really fucking top-notch for a whole lot of it. But oh my god, this storytelling is so fucking lackluster, dude.
It's and to touch on some other aspects of this story that kind of suck, Kane is here for no reason at all. He is painful. His involvement in the story is painfully short, and
feels like nothing. But again, just to get a fucking,
just to have a third person for AJ to bounce around with.
Yeah, just to get the punchline of, oh, I'm a crazy murder monster, but even I think you're fucking mentally unstable. Mm-hmm. Okay, dude.
Punk and Bryan are probably the best written characters here because they are consistent. There's a consistency to their actions. Punk clearly sees this as a flirtation that has gone far too far.
Oh yeah. His performance is the most like funny in terms of like, how do you feelings?
And Bryan is you could argue the way he acts at the end of the story doesn't make sense, but I would argue that the story consistently showed that he still had some kind of feelings for AJ. He just refused to acknowledge that and just decided to project on everyone else.
Because he is he's a very healthy human being.
So, like, he's repressing feelings for AJ, and then he tries to fake feelings to manipulate her, and then he comes to the conclusion of, oh, maybe I do actually care for AJ still. Huh. Maybe I always did. You know, it's not, I don't know, it's hard. It's in the full context of Daniel's story, it's fine. It definitely feels weird to have this kind of redemption arc for him specifically in this particular moment.
Yeah, because he's that's the thing I'm wondering about. Like, is this just another abuse tactic from him? Because I wouldn't be surprised, or if he's just like has no fucking like self-awareness and doesn't realize he would continue to just be a shitty partner to AJ.
Like I think we're supposed, like, this is all part of the face turn for Daniel in the longer sense of the story arc.
Yeah, so but again, that's more because of heel anger management than anything.
Right. I feel like we're supposed to see this as genuine. The last 2 weeks we're supposed to see as genuine on his part.
Sure.
Which, but you know. So this story, I mean, again, a lot of fun. It was nice to revisit 2012 some more, even if I have to be here and be like, man, 2012 was a lot better when I didn't know anything.
When I was clueless about like feminism.
Right, pretty much. It was fun watching the pay-per-view matches because this was before I started pirating those, so I've never seen those matches before.
Oh, well, and again, damn
fantastic
good
matches as well, yes. And this was AJ's big get over with everybody story. So,
and again,
it was messy. It was messy, but it did do what it was trying to do. Now, didn't it?
It was well earned. It really was. Like, she proved to be an excellent performer in this whole angle. Like, AJ was given some goofy, over the top, really, like, you know, kind of insulting material, and goddamn, she made it work. And even I, the whole time, going like, man, this is really insulting to like people with mental illness, and like by extension, fucking AJ herself was bipolar or bipolar disorder, and nobody knew about it. She's having to play this character that was like basically Vince McMahon's fucking dumb character.
It basically reads like a person who doesn't know how bipolar disorder works, how they think bipolar disorder works.
Yes.
Right. That's basically how her character reads.
Yeah. And she still plays that shit incredibly well. Maybe because she fucking understands it. But like an earned breakout performance from her, because she took this dumb, shitty material, this dumb, shitty, offensive material, and gave it her goddamn all. And it's obvious why everyone was talking about her and why this like catapulted her to becoming a hardcore fan favorite.
Correct. So, but that's the end of this arc. So obviously that means we got to replace it with something in this part of our calendar.
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
I am excited. I have been so excited to do this one. I like to keep our arcs generally into 5 episodes, but when we have shorter arcs, I do like to take advantage and have stick in a little longer one. I did it with Eddie Guerrero, the Eddie Guerrero Dominic thing, to make that 6 episodes. Yes. So this upcoming will be a very special 7 episodes, and you'll understand why we had to do it this long when we do it. But we have talked around the career. We've touched a lot on the career of Daniel Bryan. We've done his abusive boyfriend phase. We've done his anger management, odd couple, Team Hell No. You are familiar with Daniel, and now like he's in his AEW run now.
Oh yeah, like grizzled veteran of the industry, Bryan Danielson, who has no fucks left to give and just wants to hurt people.
Mm-hmm. And so I think it's time to do the story arc that basically catapulted him to the top of WWE. At SummerSlam 2013, Daniel Bryan faced John Cena in a 1-on-1 match with Triple H as the special referee for the WWE title. Daniel Bryan shockingly won the title that night, and immediately Triple H turned on him and had Randy Orton cash in his Money in the Bank contract to win the title off of him. This will begin WWE would tell you it was a 7-month journey. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but it's time. We will, for the next 7 episodes in our modern art segment of the show, we will be talking about the road to WrestleMania 30, where Daniel Bryan will main event and finally become the world champion we all dreamed of.
No fucking way! This is legitimately something we've talked about since early on in the show. I remember this shit. I remember us talking about like Daniel Bryan's like hard-fought climb to the top, both in and out of kayfabe, where like everyone's like, "Ha, you're short. You're not like supermodel attractive, so fuck you." Wow, this is gonna be super cool.
Yep.
God damn. Okay.
But that's a few weeks from now. What are we doing next week? Well,
yes.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Brother.
We are coming back to the Coliseum home videos, and one of the most famous parts of the Coliseum home videos was they would have mini documentaries, or at least like compilations focused on one particular wrestler. And nobody got more of these fucking tapes devoted to them than Hulk fucking Hogan. So
Absolutely.
Next time we will be watching one of those Coliseum home videos dedicated to the red and yellow spandex man himself, Hulk Hogan.
Hell yeah, brother. I'm gonna pregame with my finest cup of Hulk's protein sludge. I'm gonna say,
just start dumping pills in there. That's how you do it.
I'm gonna eat like 100 vitamins and say all my prayers, brother, because it is time to truly take a deep dive into the man, the myth, the legend himself, the Hulkster. Ow, my fucking voice.
It's a tough voice to do, dude. It's hard to keep up the voice, brother. But until then, David, hit our plugs, dude.
Oh, yes, sir, dude. All right. You don't have to I'm not doing it for the whole thing. I will die. Friends, hi. Thank you so much for once again joining us on yet another episode of the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast. We are so delighted to have you here. It has been an utter blast. And hey, returning listeners, returning viewers, hey, how you doing? You know the drill. Thank you so much for being here. We're so happy to have you. Continue to welcome us back into your eardrums, your eyeballs, whatever it is you use to consume our content. We love you guys. Thanks for being here. But hey, we got some newbies too. New people. Hey, how you doing? Great to meet you. We here at the Noobs and Knockouts podcast like to think we are friendly to both noobs and knockouts alike. So whether you're brand new to the wild, wacky world of wrestling or you're a veteran of the weird bullshit, either way, we hope you feel welcome here. We hope you had a great time here. If you would like to keep having a great time with us and you're not entirely sure how to do so, well, not to worry, my friends, I have you covered. First of all, you can find us on YouTube. We are the Noobs and Knockouts Podcast on YouTube. Hit subscribe. Ring that bell. Make sure it turns a nice little solid color so you get notifications every single time we drop a brand new episode. Give us that sweet, sweet engagement. Check out all of our playlists. Austin has been kind enough to organize all of the arcs that we follow all the way down into their own little separate playlist. So you can follow something all the way down without having to skip around a whole lot. It's great. And hey, on the YouTubes, you get to see all the cool visuals we got going on too. See our beautiful, wonderful faces. But of course, if you are a fan of the audio only experience, we of course have options for you there too. You can find us on 3 of the best places to find your podcast, which would be Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Come check us out there. Listen to the show, download the show. If you're so inclined, give us some nice little 5-star ratings, some nice little reviews telling people, hey, these guys are pretty cool. Maybe more people should be checking them out. I don't know. I'm just saying. Either way, great time. Listen to us, and if you'd be so kind, give us a little bit of that feedback. Helps out the show a lot. But hey, you can also get in contact with us. We got some social meteors going on around here. First and foremost, of course, is our Twitter. You can find us on Twitter at Noobs and Knoxpod on Twitter. That's at Noobs, the letter N, Knoxpod on Twitter. Come check us out there. We post memes. We engage in discourse. We drop we drop notifications every single time we drop a brand new episode, so you guys always know what the hell's going on. And of course, the highlight of our Twitter is weekly wrestling live tweeting. Austin's been on a bit of a break from weekly live wrestling, so I've been starting to take up that mantle a little bit myself, trying to cover either AEW Dynamite every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on TBS, and or AEW This Is Rampage, baby, the show you all been waiting on.
It is the show that I have been waiting on.
It's the show that I've been waiting on for sure. Every Friday night at 10 p.m. on TNT. we're just having a good time riffing over there. But of course, on top of that, Austin, of course, he's never one to neglect his duties truly, and he likes to cover all of the major wrestling pay-per-view events. My friend, what is on the docket coming up?
Righto. So, upcoming on November 19th is AEW Full Gear. It is David, how are you caught up on everything?
I am. I'm caught up, and I'm so
can I start
for Full Gear.
Can I start? Can I give matches then?
Yes, yes, you can.
All right. On the show, we currently have upcoming Jon Moxley versus MJF for the World Championship.
Yes.
The Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory for the World Tag Team title.
For a third time.
This time it's personal.
This time it's personal.
For the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament Final, the winner of that tournament will receive an AEW World Title match at Winter is Coming. Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter for the interim women's title.
Yes, push Hayter. Hayter's gotten her push. Yeah, baby.
The absolutely wildest Ring of Honor world title match I think I've ever seen. A four-way match between Chris Jericho, Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Sammy Guevara.
Where sidebar, Chris Jericho expects it to go like this, and he said as much. He and Sammy eliminate eliminate Bryan Danielson and Claudio, and then Chris told Sammy to his face he expects Sammy to just fucking lay down for him, and Sammy just goes,
I've seen this before. I'll get him tell you, he's not laying down.
I don't think he's laying down.
Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose for the TBS title.
Mommy! Yes!
Yeah. Dr. Britt Baker versus Soraya. Paige here. She is back as wrestling.
And she's clear, and it's a whole thing.
And then Jeff Jarrett. Ain't he great?
He's back.
Jay Lethal versus Sting and Darby Allin.
That's going to be so sick.
And then Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy in a steel cage
match. Oh my God. Nothing but bangers. Nothing but bangers at Full Gear. And it's on a Saturday. I can get wasted without it being a problem. It's going to be great.
Gonna have to turn this on in between football games, but I will persevere. Now,
yeah, baby.
Next week, the weekend after that, November 26th, is WWE Survivor Series War Games.
War Games.
So far, 5 people enter, and from each team, and then they fight it out in 2 cages, 10 people. Let's go.
Holy shit.
So far, we have only two matches set. The women's War Game match, which currently is set for Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka, and 2 people yet to be determined, versus Damage Control and Nikki Cross and 1 other person to be determined. Absolutely. And then the men's War Game match, which we don't know yet, but I mean, surely it's the Bloodline is going to be in the match, right? There's even 5 of them.
It's plus fucking Sami Zayn is there too.
Yeah, it's the Usos, Roman, Solo Sikoa, and Sami Zayn. So,
absolutely.
Like, surely the Bloodline is going to be in the men's match. And then for Impact Wrestling, their next pay-per-view is all the way in January at Hard to Kill.
Hard to Kill.
And that is what is coming up on the wrestling pay-per-view verse.
Hell yeah. It's a great time over on the Twitter, you guys. We love doing our little live tweety spots. If you, for some reason, love sitting here listening to us ramble about wrestling shit, you'll like it on the Twitter. Our voices carry over. Austin's all smart. I'm all memey. It's a great time. So yeah, check us out on the Twitter at Noobs and Knocks Pod. But of course, if you want to get in super direct contact with us, we also have an email address. You can email us at noobsandknockoutspod@gmail.com. That's noobs and the word knockoutspod@gmail.com. Come say hi to us there. Tell us what you think about the show. Give us suggestions, requests for any kind of wrestling media you want to see us cover. Tell us how based and red pill you think our hot takes are, how fucking stupid you think they are. Start discourse. Come say hi. We love people saying hi. We would love to say hi back. Noobs and knockoutspod@gmail.com. And of course, finally, hey, we're just a couple of dudes. We're some broke 20-somethings. We put our blood, sweat,
We're
and tears.
We're a couple of guys being dudes.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into this show. And hey, we would greatly appreciate it if you guys could support us. Helps us out, helps the show out a little bit. Maybe, we can afford some even better tech to just keep making the show and work better and better. I don't know, I'm just saying. Either way, come support us. We have a Patreon. Please come support Noobs and Knockouts Podcast on Patreon. You can find the link for it in our Twitter. $1 a month gives you early access to episodes and a shout out at the end of each episode. Shout out to $1 a month friend of the show, the sugar daddy, Kyle Smith, for his support of our show. We love you, buddy. Enjoy your perks. If you want to enjoy your perks along with Kyle, come check us out. Noobs and Knockouts Podcast on Patreon. We got the link in the Twitter.
See you all next time.
Hasta luego.